evening. It's Friday, February 16th, 2024. This is the longest running episodic, whatever the hell this is.
It is.
And here, despite all our objections, we've got Bougie Eric, as usual, disappointing us all just by his mere existence. However, he will as always pay for the like button. So that's important. We got the Burrell from the Garage of Knowledge, as generally is the case. And live location from sunny California is Brad Harlan. Brad, how are you today?
Earthquake.
Doing fantastic. This is great. It's 5 o'clock.
Oh yeah,
I used to.
I was gonna say this is early for you this time around. Like it's like I expect high energy because this isn't late by any stretch of the imagination.
That's
the time zone you're in.
No, it's. I've stayed. I got here on Sunday, and I've tried really hard to stay on Atlantic Standard Time and try to function. So I've done a pretty good job at it.
No,
I don't do well. The time change. It's just I never have it. It always messes me up. So I might as well just try to stay on Atlantic Standard Time.
I know. Yeah, I mean 4-hour difference. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Pretty
some
substantial.
people it doesn't bother. Some people get away. Not me.
I think the secret was because when I went to Vegas years ago, you got the 3-hour time difference. 3 or 4 hours, it's still a lot. The thing is, on the first day, basically you stay up longer to make up the difference, and then from there you just operate as normal, and then you just keep going. Then you're just only the first day is really the one that's impacted, and the rest of it kind of operates as normal. But I guess it also depends on how long you're going to be there. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
So real
Business
quick, Michael
trip?
Ham. That was for you, Brad.
Sorry.
Trip?
Business trip.
Yep. Yeah. Business all week. So it's I'm finished now, and tomorrow I get to go to the Burbank show. So I was there last night.
Cool.
For a couple hours, but I'm going to spend the day there tomorrow, and then Thursday morning I got up actually, and I got to go do something that I've always wanted to do, and I never did. I went and watched Tiger play in the Genesis. So
well, you managed to do it before he had to pull out.
Well, you know what's crazy? I was going to go on Saturday, and I was like, well, what if he doesn't make the cut? So then I said, well, maybe I'll go on Friday. And then I talked to Ryan, who I report to. He said, I go Thursday. That way you don't even got to think about it. I was like, I was gone. So it was,
as it turns out.
What an experience. Unbelievable.
Good. There you go. So Michael Ham was first here. Good evening, Ham. Time is irrelevant. Ooh, Ham getting philosophical on us. Philly Joe here says, good evening, Carlos and gang. Confused with Eric not being the upper right corner of the screen. Don't worry, he'll be dealt with in due time. He's hiding right now in a different location, thinking we won't see him, thinking we won't realize the like button will still be paid for.
No.
His tricks we will not fall for his tricks.
He's just close to the
says,
like button right now.
That's right. He is right, like sitting there going like, man, the like button.
Every time I hit him, it's like boom, boom.
One after another, man. One after another. But since we got Brad here indirectly, it also kind of plays into. So let me do this right off the top so that we've got it covered. We want to talk about briefly AMG Collectibles. Got to have a little scrolling ticker here. AMGcollectibles.ca and the AMG Collectibles YouTube channel, where you can check out the AMG Collectibles podcast and hear a variety of different takes, what's coming in the shop. And I've already been getting the scans. The collector of the people, Steve, and the collector of the scallop, Steve, has been sending me pictures already. I've already got pictures of new stuff, including the new clear cut. So if you're interested in new clear cut, apparently some really nice ones. And I even saw that Wayne Gretzky guy, like that, that Hammond Egger, whoever that is. But apparently one of those cards is there. And we got a Mary Lemieux and a couple ones. You'll get to see them. I already have the photos, but you'll get to see them in the next episode. That'll be coming.
Nice.
So thank you to AMG Collectibles for supporting the channel and this podcast.
Nicest, sweetest, most professional business owner I've ever met. Absolutely fantastic. The owner of AMG Collectibles just could not be a nicer human being. I don't always agree with her personal choices in life, but as a professional and as a card shop owner, you're just not going to find any better out there. So
interesting. We'll revisit this conversation the next time a Reggie Lemon comes into the store. My original plan was to incinerate it. Just to be clear, that was my original idea. It was a great idea. I would have enjoyed it. So Dufex here says, BICTGIF. Thank you, Dufex. Appreciate you. Appreciate Jeff as well. And Bob Jackson. Greetings from the Committee of Bobs. Thank you, Bob. We got Neo Cards and Comics here. Can Brad authenticate Anthony Richardson auto? So this was a little topic that came up. I did appreciate. So I'll read a couple comments and I'll come back to Neo's comment. Hang tight for 2 seconds. We can't do the Dustin thing. We actually respond to our comments kind of semi in real time. So we want to make sure we do that. Hold on. So CC, good evening. Absolutely. AMG, much appreciated, Eric. There you go. AMG Collectibles observing and watching. Good for you. Look at you. All right.
Why does it do that?
See, you did it again. This is all you. It's all you. And you notice it's right over your square every time. It's over your square.
Understand. It's
You're even in a different place right now. It's over your square.
You guys are messing with me.
Just so we're clear. Anyway, so I was going to say, so the Anthony Richardson auto, that was one I believe that it was being discussed on the Discord, and there's been a variety. I think, to make a long story short, and I could see if I could pull it up, find the pictures. But the point is, Anthony Richardson autos, and there appear to be a bunch of different variations, and there's a lot of back and forth about his PSA. Even looking into it, what I'll say is this: it's very murky waters when it's the actual manufacturer that's supposed to be providing the certification. In and of themselves, it being a certified auto means that they've already. So in theory, PSA should be like, dude, it was our job just to confirm the card is real. If we have to, we do have the capacity to authenticate the auto, but if somebody just wants to grade the card, it's already a certified auto. That's supposed to be the certification.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
so any thoughts in general on that, Brad?
You know what? This is true. It's hilarious that Neo just chimed in with this, because I'm sitting in my office. That I had an office for the week that I was using, and I'm having a little downtime. I think it was an hour to kill, so I'm catching up on all my gossip, all my videos. I see Neo's video, I boom, click it, I watch the whole thing, and my next meeting was with PSA DNA. So I kind of roll in, and I was thinking about it the whole time. I'm like, I'm still relatively the new guy around here. I'm just not even going to. I wanted to ask so bad after watching Neo's video about it, but I'm like, nope, I'm not going to say nothing about this at all. Like, I know my place right now. But I just finished watching it, and then I was right in the DNA room, and I wanted to ask that question.
Right. So let me throw this out. It kind of separate from the PSA part of the equation. We can quickly discuss this from this angle. My thought for a long time, and it stays, and I stay firm on this, is that unfortunately, when we went away from the era of, if you remember the old Upper Deck autographs, signed in front of an Upper Deck representative, or signed in front of the only real way you could really get that kind of comfort or assurance that you really knew the chain of custody of the autograph was to be like, hey, I work for the manufacturer. Hey, I've got the cards in this box. I'm going to put the cards in front of you, and I'm going to sit right here while you sign them, put them back in the box, and then I'm going to take the box with me. And that way, at least you, as a representative of the company, you can say, yeah, they signed them. I witnessed it. I watched it. You can take photos. You can take video. You can do whatever you need to do. And then they go away, and then you've got the cards in your hand in a box. Anything short of that, I don't care if it's through the agent. I don't care if it's through the family member. I don't care if it's through some, power of attorney. Like, the moment you don't have eyes on it, you don't know who signed that.
Well,
you have no idea. There's no way to know.
Take a look at this. I just grabbed one that's sitting on my desk. See if we can blow this one up, okay? Because can you guys read what that says? I was surprised. That says exactly the opposite of what you're saying.
Yeah, it was sent to Upper Deck directly from Bob Orr. Eric, they have been doing it for years, but for a long time, the standard was signed in front of an Upper Deck representative. That was the standard. Over the years, they had exceptions, but then the exceptions became more and more the rule. And then now you add stickers into the equation, and it becomes a little bit murkier, a little bit trickier.
Yep.
This is from the early 2000s, I think. This isn't.
Yeah, it'd be like 99, somewhere like 99, 2000, somewhere in that range.
So, obviously that's 23, 24 years ago. I was expecting to turn that over and have it say exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
Knowing that currently that is the rarest of occasions now. These things are sent, the stickers are sent, the sticker sheets, the whole thing. So when I flipped that over, I expected to see witnessed, and I'm kind of surprised that 23 years ago, that was not witnessed. It's just trusted that we got them back from Bobby, and he signed them.
Yeah. The only reason I say it, kind of phrase it the way that I did, is that unfortunately, if you don't do that, you can play a lot of weird games, and it's not even the obvious ones. I kind of tongue in cheek throughout the idea that Obviously, you've got the cases with like auto pens, you've got secretarial, you've got family members that can sign off on it. You know, the rumor for the longest time was that Luka's mom was signing the autographs for Luka Doncic and all that stuff. But look, I said kind of tongue in cheek, Brad, just as a joke. I said, hey, look, here's the thing. If I was an athlete or whatever, I could literally have Carlos Sr. sign for me. Because here's the thing. Carlos Sr.'s name is the same as mine. And I could say legitimately, Carlos Alcazar signed that. That would be true. And he and I could both sign, and the signatures would not look any more different. Yeah. But we would both be signing the exact same name. And legitimately, you would be getting a Carlos signing it. But it's obviously not the same thing as what you're actually asking for, because I was supposed to be the one signing it, and that's not what happened. Shaquille O'Neal signs TTM for free. Got mine back last week. Got to send it to Rick's Authentication. Team Rick. Appreciate it.
This one might be harder to read, but this actually says this was not signed in front of an Upper Deck official. I'll read it to you. Yeah, it's
a little tough to read.
Congratulations, you have received a signed Sign of the Times card, personally autographed by Wayne Gretzky. This Sign of the Times trading card was not autographed in the presence of a representative of the Upper Deck company, but was obtained directly from Wayne Gretzky. This certificate expressly certifies the authenticity of the depicted, and then it gets
yes, writing on there.
Yeah, well, they were very particular. It's like, we got it from Wayne on a Thursday, but Wayne looked a little glossy-eyed, so we're a little concerned with some of the things that happened there. So good luck, Timothy. Good luck with the workout on the stationary bike. Absolutely. Hopefully we can get you through that. So best of luck on that. Dufex says, so I think Neo's saying he's out. Take it easy, Neo. Will current frustration with modern autos sour general collector interest towards autographs of all eras? It can. And now I will say, though, one caveat I'll throw in. Ignorance is bliss in a lot of these things. We'll talk about it. We'll have this conversation right now, and people will like lament it. But after the Dak Prescott auto pen thing, did people stop collecting autos? No. It's actually been years since they've done the in the presence of a representative, to Eric's point. And there were exceptions before. It's not like it's only one time. It's like all it says these days is it says, the company certifies us. The company is saying we will back the autograph. But no, we have no more information on when that signing happened, who was responsible, who was in the room, who's not in the room. Did you check, or did you just mail him a bunch of stuff? We don't know any of those questions and answers. Bob Boozle says, good evening, Bob Boozle. Processes need to be shored up, but the athletes need to honor contracts. I agree with that. In the correct world, if you sign a deal, you're supposed to honor it. So I agree with that. Bob Jackson says, I don't think so. A signature for a player is still a signature for the player. Yes. Maybe with new players, the demand will fall off as people lose interest, but on the older, it won't. Also, don't forget, a lot of the newer players, their autographs are pretty lame. Like, there's not much effort in the auto anyway. So it's like, realistically, if you've got an auto that at least looks like something, it's interesting to you, there's still desire. And also, don't forget, a lot of the hardcore collectors have a pretty good grasp on what the auto should look like. So doesn't mean you're going to know definitively 100% for sure, but you can generally pick out a bad fake. So especially if you collect enough of it, right? You're just going to have a large sample size to look at. Sig Lovegood's wife signed a lot, if not all of his 97 Leaf cards. Mike Webster may have had his wife sign the 97 UD Legends cards. Fair. CC says, if a player is agreeing to sign and they get someone else to sign, there should be financial consequences. The Players Association and manufacturers must do better. I'm not holding my breath, though. Well, Leaf did try to sue that one player. I forget who it was. They did try to sue somebody to get them to honor the deal. So they do have legal recourse. It's tricky because on the one hand, you do want to encourage these players to honor the deal that they made. But you've got two ways you can do this. One of the things the players could do is they say, okay, fine, I'll sign what I need to do. I'll do the bare minimum. I'll give you a half-ass signature to meet my obligation, and I will never sign for you again. Or the other players can be like, oh, you're going to actually sue people who decide, okay, fine. Then none of us are going to sign for you. Or very few of us are going to sign for you. And you're not going to get many autographs in your product because they're like, fuck this. Because a lot of the players are making so much money. Like, dude, I don't care. And the lack of care is part of the reason you're getting some of the stuff you're getting. It's like, you don't offer me enough money for me to care.
Michael Jordan does not need his Upper Deck contract.
I think he can manage without it. Yes.
Yeah. What's he up to? 3 or 4 billion now?
Probably somewhere in that range.
He's well surpassed the $1 billion mark.
The shoes sell quite well. Plus, he was able to sell his stake in the Charlotte basketball team, so he made money on that deal too.
Oh, he doesn't own a basketball team anymore?
I think he's out completely, or maybe he still has a small piece. Carlos, do you remember?
I don't remember if he retained a minority, but he definitely sold a chunk, and he made money on his chunk. Like whatever he sold, he made money on it for sure. What do your autos look like? Mine looks a lot like a Tom Brady. So look, I didn't want to tell you this way, but a lot of the Tom Brady autos might actually just be me. Just throwing it out there. Might increase the value, but I'm just letting y'all know. Bubbles says I was shopping for Anthony Edwards auto yesterday and realized that it signed his whole name, Panini, initials, and Leaf. There you go. That's a bougie Eric auto right there. Paul says Leaf had to sue CD Lamb. That was the one. So I knew there was somebody specific. Yes.
Right.
Let's see here. Billy Seal says yes, he does.
Yes, he does. Yeah. Okay, I'm wrong, Billy. My bad, Jordan.
Listen, I don't want to hear one word from Billy Cilio here until I see my Michael Jordan autos inside of Upper Deck Signature Legends. You're telling me Jordan is not good enough to be a signature legend? I understand he's no Hal Gill, but even still, you think. That's right. Listen, once upon a time, I even have it on good authority. I heard a rumor once upon a time that there was an individual who likes to collect Wayne Gretzky cards, likes to collect Hal Gill cards. There's a lot of these things. And imagine once upon a time, I suggested and looked autograph-wise, the greatest hockey player of all time, and Wayne Gretzky. Now, that might have been Bougie Eric. I'm just saying. Right there. Wow. Greatest player of all time, and Wayne Gretzky. That is Eric Wade. True story. Everything you say ever will be used against you.
Listen, all I can tell you is if anybody has a problem with the fact that Hal Gill is obviously the greatest hockey player ever to put on skates.
He's Hal fucking Gill for a reason.
They can take it up with me. I'm ready to go anytime somebody wants to go.
With your back, even doing what you're doing right now, you're gonna keel over any minute.
I can fight in a chair.
You're gonna have to fight from a chair.
You feeling better now, Eric?
I was gonna say, I think Eric took a couple of happy pills before he got on the broadcast today, and once that wears off,
I did.
Just gonna keel right over.
I did pick up the oxycodone today for the surgery for next week.
There you go.
I do have it as something in the house.
CC says Alec Manoah looking thin and slimmer. Brad, does hope spring eternal? Does the slimmer and trimmer Alec Manoah? Are you holding out some hope here?
I've watched so many videos over the last 2 or 3 weeks. I'm just like, he's back, baby. He's back.
Brad's just staring at the mirror like he's hyping himself up for this. He's like, I swear to God, just get me out of this one, Alec. Just get me out of this one.
And then I'll be right back in that whole situation. He comes out, maybe he gets his first win, a shutout, a bunch of strikeouts. He goes 2-0 or 3-0. Then what do? Should I hold or should I just cut my losses and let it go?
The correct answer was to let it go previously, but
I think I'm going to hold forever. I'm just going to be
well. At this point, you might be pot committed, Brad. What you've got, my friend, is a very, very expensive version of my Josh Rosen collection.
Yeah.
I think my entire Josh Rosen collection costs less than one of your Alec Manoahs.
Maybe you need to call him if he's interested in buying his cards from you.
Maybe that's the play. Maybe that is the play.
He might. I got an in as well. So I know a friend of mine is engaged to Zach Pop. Maybe I can get an in who's a pitcher for the Jays. Anyways.
Oh, okay.
I might have to bring that up to her. I'm going to send her a picture and see if Manoah wants to buy a stake.
Would you like to purchase your own cards?
I'm not going to sell it all. I'll give him a stake in it, right? What do we paid? Yeah. We paid $12,000 for the Superfractor Canadian. So, and I own half of it. So that's $6,000. So $1,200 for 10%. Maybe Manoah would give me $1,200 for 10%.
Have you considered the possibility? So, Brad, have you considered maybe using the hottest auctions platform sweeping the nation? It's Whatnot, basically. But what I'm saying is you could have Cards HQ sell it. Like, look, they're live right now. They're like selling cards. Like, look, that's $1, and it's sold for $1. So that's sold. Yeah. That's Cards HQ right there. They're live selling right now as we speak. Live. It's happening. So I actually wanted to show this to bring up a point. I'm considering making a video kind of talking about this a little bit. We did already talk about Cards HQ, and believe it or not, it's not just to make fun of them, although it is entertaining to make fun of them. But my angle on it is playing into the idea that I think Jeff's critical error, well, there are probably going to be several critical errors, but there's one specific one that maybe I would focus on. And that is that in the because I went back and watched my old video on it, and he spent a lot of time talking about innovating and that he wanted his shop to be studied. And now we've had a couple of weeks, and I expect more things will get turned online in the coming weeks from now. So I expect that. But I'm still waiting for the innovation part. He's got the lovely little cart with the cameras on it, but that's all well and good. That's all well and good. But Brad, all I'm seeing right now is a card shop that is selling out whatnot, and it's just really big. It's like a card shop supersized. So let me pose a question in this way. And this is the analogy that I was playing around with earlier today. And actually, because I was helping my parents with groceries, helping them take care of it, we were actually at Costco. This is kind of what led me down this thought process. Brad, as a businessman, if you decided to become a franchisee of McDonald's, you'd be in business. That's not a terrible idea. McDonald's, is very popular. If you're put in the right place, it could do very well. Brad, if you build a McDonald's the size of a Costco, is that innovation, or is that Brad needs to get off of whatever Eric's on?
I'm in full agreement with you right now.
Yeah. Like, the thing is, the McDonald's is not the bad idea. There's nothing wrong with the McDonald's part, but just making it supersized for the hell of it doesn't actually enhance the experience. It doesn't make it any better. It just makes it bigger. That's all you did. It's like, what are you going to do with all this extra space? It's just wasted space. The point is, you could do it, Brad. You could just say, hey, I'm going to build the biggest McDonald's in the world. Cool, man. There's still McNuggets and fries. Nothing has changed. You didn't add anything. Why specifically should I come to your McDonald's as opposed to just the one down the street that is selling me McNuggets and fries?
Well, does he have one of those indoor playgrounds with the little ball pit?
He does, but it's the same size as the regular McDonald's one. That's the problem. The problem is the actual components are the same. You just put it inside of a bigger building. So what I'm getting at from this silly analogy, is at the moment, all you've done is taken components that already exist and put them under one roof. The fact that you put it in this bigger space, that's cool and all. Oh, but it's got a studio in it. That's fine. That's not innovative. There's nothing innovative. All you did was supersize the normal card shop and sell on whatnot. That is all we've got so far. Brad, that's all I got.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And, as a fan, and I want this place to succeed. And I will admit this, that so far it's been a little underwhelming on what I expected. And I didn't expect everything to come out at once.
Yeah.
I'm still looking for the first something groundbreaking, and I'm still waiting for it. And I still think he's going to pull it together. But as time goes on, I start to wonder. I have a little bit of doubt.
Brad, he sold 14,000,006 boxes in the first 30 minutes of the doors were open.
Yeah. And each one of them, one for every single Brock Purdy Super Bowl appearance per Eric. True story. But kind of like I said, so kind of the line I'm working, Brad, is that I am making fun of it, but at the same time, I'm also trying to make like a valid point here. It's like, to be clear, this is going to be part of the video. If I end up doing the video this weekend, I'm giving you guys like the groundwork of my thought process here. If I end up doing the video this weekend, the crux of the video is going to be me replaying Jeff's own clip from his own podcast where he said he wanted to be innovative. He said they were going to be innovative. He said that he wanted other retailers to study him. I'm basically quoting.
Right.
He said that. I didn't say that.
Do you think maybe things are just a little delayed? How long has it been now? 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah.
It's been about 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah.
So maybe
the thing though is that we haven't even discussed what the innovative part is. That's the problem, is that like the reality is I'll boldly suggest something. I don't think anything he's about to say next will actually be innovative. I think it'll be an iteration of something that already exists, and he'll just put it under one roof and say, okay, this is innovative. And it's like, no, it's not. It's really not. But the other piece of the puzzle, and this is something I can criticize him actually more so for it. You can just overpromise a little bit. You get too excited, you get too exuberant, and you try to, again, to this very day, SGC offers me flying cars. I still don't have them. 1 hour grading service that personally hand delivered to me in a velvet bag off of a helicopter, and still I haven't gotten that either. So SGC Pete is guilty of overpromising on these things too. Hell, he hasn't even gotten me to a second episode of a podcast. Brad, we haven't even got a second episode of podcast. I don't have flying cars, and I haven't gotten 1 hour velvet bag delivery. To this very day, SGC Pete continues to let me down. The point is that overpromising in this genre is not new. He's not the only one to do it. But one thing that I can't criticize him for even more is that one thing Geoff has always been good at is usually he'll try to put a little sizzle on it. Even a regular video, it'll be like, he won't just go to the card show. He'll be like, I spent $80,000 at this card show. I spent $100,000. He'll try to add some sizzle to it. I got to be honest, Cards HQ right from the get-go, where's the sizzle? Where are the sparklers? Where anything? And so far, it's like, it's a card shop. It's real big. We got showcases that show the cards like this, like in Japan. Cool, man. All right. Good to know. Thanks, Jeff. And by the way, if you don't go to the store, then you don't care. Because if you don't set foot in the store, then all those things I just said are irrelevant. Because you don't even have the eBay store set up. You don't have, like, how would I buy from you? Even if I want to buy something you have. How do I do that? I got to go on this Whatnot thing. By the way, Whatnot sucks for buying singles. I got to wait for you to finally get to the damn single. How long do I have to wait? I want to buy a card from so-and-so. I want to buy a Tom Brady card. Oh, we're only doing baseball right now. Great. Well, then how am I supposed to buy this from you? Do I have to shoot you an email? Should I send you correspondence? A letter?
Tom Brady has a baseball card.
Amazing. True. But I don't think when we get there, we'll get there.
I just think all these platforms, eBay is the skeleton. It's going to be there forever. Hey, Bobby.
Sorry, I had to go to an auction. So
yeah, no worries.
I'm not happy.
All I'm getting at with this conversation, I'll read a couple of your comments. All I'm getting at with this point is, again, Jeff is always very easy to make fun of because he's very memeable. He does a lot of things that are worth memeing. Although there are other people who have made memes this week. I won't go there. But the point is that there are other people who have made memes this week. The point is that normally when Jeff does one of these things, he'll at least give it a go. He'll try to do like an outlandish stunt or something. And I actually feel completely underwhelmed by this. Other than this, like, yeah, 14,000, literally your only selling point is 14,000 square feet. That's all I've gotten so far. We have a mural. Cool, man. You hired somebody to paint a mural. Brad, I'm blown away so far. Let me tell you, woo. And by the way, the breaker pod hasn't kicked in yet. We talked about this previously. You guys were AMG was originally going to try to do some breaker pods. It hasn't worked out. The point is, you guys beat him to the punch on the breaker pods, but both breaker pods are right now being equally used. Mm-hmm. And Geoff has made a big deal. Jeff doesn't have one breaker pod; he's got like 6 or 7, and they're all right now being operated by Eric, and he's here. There's nothing happening in them. They're empty.
Is that the place that starts with the letter A?
You got to turn off the echo again, Bobby. So that's all I'm getting at is that, look, at the end of the day, promise whatever the hell you want, but 14,000 square feet is not a selling point in and of itself for most people. It's like, that's why I use the ComC analogy from the pandemic period. Just telling me you have a building you can see from space, I don't care. What is that? How does that help me? How does that impact me as a consumer? Oh, we got a machine. Cool. How does that help me as a consumer?
I know I'm kind of
why do I care?
I know I'm repeating myself, but it's all right. I like Brad, am rooting for this to be successful. I think that would just be better for everything if it is successful. So I'm rooting for it. I think the 14,000 feet, I think I said this before, is a good thing because your company can grow into that space. If you got a smaller space and your company grew, you're screwed. As Brad knows, AMG just moved to a bigger facility. He grew out of, the other space. It's tough to move. Here in Massachusetts and Sports World, we're in our 5th location, and we moved this is the biggest one yet. And, it took us over a year to get moved in. It is tough to move a business from point A to point B. It is much easier to buy a bigger space and grow into it. And I think if he brings in sports memorabilia and doesn't just try to sell supplies from Timmy Two Hats and just single slab cards, I don't see why he can't be more successful. And
so you're saying he needs an entire wall selling shoes that say, I wash my shoes in the laundry.
dry them on the dryer.
There's
Wow.
nothing wrong.
Still
With
on the
the-
static, Bobby. I don't know why.
Oh, okay. I'll go up and come back.
Yeah, no
you're
worries.
broke.
Yeah, but look, all I'll say is this: I don't disagree with your general premise, but I just don't look. I'll put it this way, Brad, and chime in on this as a thought from somebody who has run shops before. I don't see the practical utility of a 14,000 square foot space. Now, let's also be fair, completely fair on this. A chunk of that space is getting used by studio, so there is a chunk of the space being utilized for other things, which is fine. For the studio, I get it. For maybe offices, I get it. You want to use it for other stuff, I get that. So then it's not really 14,000 square feet. It's the practical space is less. But if you look at the actual layout, it's still a lot of like empty space. If you're running a trade night, it makes sense. You're running an event, it makes sense. So using AMG as an example, when you guys do your trade nights, you have a lot of people come by, and sometimes people are hanging around just outside the store. There are tables and things. If you had the room inside the space, that'd be cool. But at the same time, what about when you're not running a trade night and all of a sudden you got that extra space? What are you supposed to do? Like, Steve and Blair and all of them could be having a breakdance battle in the middle of it because you have enough room for it.
That
That's
would be
cool.
awesome.
But outside of that, like, what are we doing with the extra space, Brad?
Yeah, I guess at the end of the day, though, it would have to be what is on his lease. Like maybe he could. Who knows what Atlanta? I don't know what the situation is like in Atlanta, but maybe it's like, here's your sign a 20-year lease. You're taking 14,000 feet. You're paying the same price as it was for 8,000 square feet. And he's like, well, this is what I was paying at my studio because we needed 6,000 square feet. So really, I'm paying nothing in rent for my card store. Like there's so many scenarios we can look at. No one will know besides him when he has that. And that could be a case. Maybe he just has a smoking deal and you have the space. Why not?
Yeah, I just think, look, I'll put it this way. I think perception is reality. And I think if you create this gigantic space, so the silly analogy I used earlier, part of the reason why I would make fun of an idea of doing a McDonald's inside of a Costco size space is not because you couldn't do it. Brad, I don't care if they're giving you the lease for free. You're still going to look like a complete idiot when 98% of the space is empty most of the time. It's like everybody's going to go like, why on earth would you need this much room? The counter is all the way down there. I need to get on a bicycle just to get to the end of the damn thing. Like, what are we doing?
I'm with you, but maybe the point that Eric said as well, like there's more things that are going to happen, and you can start off looking kind of empty, and as it evolves over the course of the next 6 months, spaces get filled in. Maybe it isn't. All joking aside, I know the sneakers was towards Eric, but maybe there's a maybe there's a sneaker
In a
section.
washing machine. What kind of a psychopath cleans their shoes in a washing machine, Brad? Washing machine.
Right? But that could be the case. Maybe they could expand all kinds of things. You never know what's going to happen. So.
If OJ had understood this in advance, he would have been able to have a close track of the real killer. He just needed to find the guy who would throw his shoes into a washing machine.
Yeah,
that's the psycho. That's the one you need to be looking for. I'm just saying.
Those are the ones that are in the laundry mats and stuff.
Yeah,
Bobby, I swear, I have no idea what's going on. You are like the static king of the world.
One sec.
Then you had a no static button. That worked perfect last time.
Once in a while, like it happens, but usually he can hit a setting and it fixes it and it's fine. I don't know. Wilcher says, you guys see the new LED screen? Yeah, they are putting on the basketball floor in Indy as far as the weekend. Get ready for games with Mountain Dew flashing obnoxiously on the court. The thing is, they could have CGI'd that in previously, I guess. Well, if you're doing an LED screen, I guess you can make it practical, but it's not necessary. You can CGI it in now. Orlando says he has to pay so much overhead, has to sell so much. Yeah. For my analogy, though, for my silly analogy, I said, pretend the lease is free. I don't care. If sometimes a space is impractical for what you're actually trying to do. Does it fit a purpose? If we go with Eric's analogy and give him the benefit of the doubt, I got to be honest. Everything I've seen so far of a lot of the stuff he's done, Jeff has never struck me as a guy who's particularly creative at coming up with new angles. I feel like a lot of times he's very comfortable taking components that already exist and just putting them together. Even the data tool is like a data tool. We had comps. All they did was take an API and put together and then download the information. And he hired software people to actually make a layout. The truth is, the rank and file person day to day doesn't really need that. I played around with both tools. I played around with that one and Card Ladder, and both of them have some pluses and minuses. I did a comparison of the two a couple of years ago now, and I'm sure they've improved it since then. But all I'm getting at is that I can go on Terapeak for free and look up comps on recent sales going even back a couple of years. And on most of the time, for most items, that's good enough. For the average person doing transaction, that's good enough. And it's free. So in reality, I'm okay with what you're doing, but don't sell it to me as innovation because it's really not.
Mhm.
That's all I'm
Well, it's
saying.
not creative. It's not creative. It's innovative. Actually, he's just taking something and just doing it and off of somebody else. That's innovation.
Well, he's trying.
Creation is starting something his own, and he didn't start anything his own. So, but I'm not saying anything about the place that starts with the letter A. I'm not being fodder for Paul C anymore.
Listen, Bobby, we saw your secret war with Georgia. It's something we weren't expecting. My war with the Dutch is legitimate and completely accepted by everyone. Everyone understands where I stand on the Dutch.
True.
But there are reasons. There are legitimate, Brad, there are legitimately verifiable reasons why the Dutch and I are at odds.
Yeah. It's not tulips.
So Paul says, so somebody, Jeff, is like a lizard that will grow to fit the aquarium. I guess that's the hope there. If the Geoff personality wasn't attached to Cards HQ, would the store be viable? If the Geoff personality wasn't attached to Cards HQ, they wouldn't have even tried it. They would have run a normal size store and done the rest of it. This is a vanity project. Bob Ozel says here, maybe Geoff can sell his time in his shop in the off hours. Nice video for a bachelor party with strippers. You see, if you're at least using the space for something, at least that would make sense. Why is Bobby having already trouble when we can hear it perfectly fine? Life is not fair sometimes. Life is not fair. Fetch me a Sussex Golden Ginger Ale for Carlos and a spicy mayo margarita for Eric. Hey, there you go. Bob Ozel gets it. He needs to put a restaurant or bar in the store. At least if you put a bar in there, I could justify some of the space. Then you got your TV set up and everything, your license. You can make some extra money on that.
Or
during the right times. Something, man, something. Jeff wants to build a food court and not just a McDonald's franchise. Yes,
It may
exactly.
as well.
Yeah, that at least would make more sense. That would make more sense. Michael Ham says shop is doing fine. It will evolve. I'm going to need to see those numbers, Ham. I don't think the shop is doing fine. I think it's a lost leader until further notice. He needs to build out that food court. Yes, Boston Triangle, chronic shoe watcher.
Most businesses are a loss, or maybe an even in the first few years.
No, I agree, Eric. The key though with this one though is based on Geoff's pronouncements. It was a $3 million build out. So he opened on day one, 3 million in the hole. So the shop is not doing fine. The shop could be profitable for what it's doing right now. Good enough. That's fine. We're okay there. But the point is, in the long run, that needs to continue. In the early days, actually, I expect sales to be stronger than they're going to be a month from now, because there's really nothing else to. The novelty will wear off. And when the novelty wears off, the question is, what are you bringing to the table as a business that people are going to want to buy into? That's where I would hope that you've activated the other ways of you making revenue. You've activated the website with abilities to buy. You're not just relying on one whatnot stream, selling a single at a time for $1. That's probably not going to get the job done. You're going to need to do a little more.
Didn't his first week have 15 million packs sold or something?
It was 1,500 boxes. And we never defined what boxes were, but yes. Yeah. Maybe put in a ball pit. Hey, at least there's some ideas.
See? I'm not the only one who thinks that is a winner.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got a question. I need an answer from you guys. I've been thinking about this since yesterday.
Is it about Alec Manoa? Because the answer is no. The answer is always no.
It's not. It's actually not even really about sports, but I'll make it quick and brief.
Go ahead.
So yesterday, after going to the golfing event, they asked me about how did Justin Thomas do. I said, he sucked for a little bit, how he usually gets sooky. And the two guys I was with looked at me and said, "What did you just say?" And I was like, "Well, he's a sook at times." And they never heard that word used before. Wow. So do you guys know, and I'm actually asking this seriously. If you said someone was being sooky or is a sook, is that a word that you know, Bobby?
Is that S-O-O-K? Is that what you're saying? S-O-O-K?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
I would say suck, S-U-C-K. But souk, no, I got nothing.
That is some weird Nova Scotian shit.
No. So I swear to God. So I thought this was part of vocabulary for everybody. I really did. And even so, I started to text some people back at home, and then I Googled it, and it's actually, we have someone in the chat usually from Australia. It says it's slang for being a whiner in Atlantic Canada and Australia.
Those two.
I swear to God,
Brad, you understand that be so just we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
I'm right now. I am envisioning an end of the year clip. Eric, I am envisioning an end of the year clip in the making right now about to happen.
Yep,
So
I'm there.
basically, what you're saying is this slang is effectively a former prison colony in Nova Scotia. These are the two places on the planet that utilize this verbiage. Do you want to explain that,
Yeah.
Eric? Please. Do you
It's-
have a theory that you'd like to posit
I'm
on how we
thinking
wound up in
about
this scenario?
continental drift and how those were connected. That like, I'm trying to put the pieces together. And I
You
don't see how
can't.
Scotia and
doesn't.
Australia were together. But
Listen, I studied a lot of history, man. I've seen some of those Pangea drawings and everything.
Yeah.
Like the Nova Scotia, Australia, there's stuff in between, Brad. There's a lot. Did the kangaroos carry it from one side to another? Like, what's going
you
on?
have kangaroos in Nova Scotia?
No.
I hope so. It would explain something. I
That'd
can
be
blame the
crazy.
kangaroos.
Yeah.
The Mechanical Rat Band, yes, absolutely. Like to know when I've yet to come on the Manoa Redemption Tour 2024. Fair. I want a McFarlane Geoff action figure. Live the dream. I've worked on and played and saw enough East Coasters that use Souk or whatever the hell it is. Okay. So Paul's at least helping you out a little bit. You go Sulk, but have not used Souk. Is Souk related to Suki? Which is valid. It's a valid
Maybe.
question. I hear you.
That is some.
I get
weird-
you.
All right. Well, that's why you guys just answered it. That I thought these guys were messing with me.
Yeah, I honestly had not heard it used in that way. So I can say truthfully, I have not.
Okay. I appreciate the input.
It's all what you grow up with wherever you are. You know, I remember growing up and someone says that, yeah, just give me 2 bits. And it's like, what's 2 bits? It's a quarter, right?
Right.
And most people don't know that, actually.
Oh, this is another thing I learned today. Look at these bad boys. You guys are finally catching up with the times, Eric.
What's that?
Oh, the dollar coin?
Uses
Yeah.
those. Nobody uses those.
What are they called?
Silver dollar?
Is there a name for them?
Nobody wants
Well,
them.
they've had
all
two
pieces.
they had 2 versions of them. They started using a dollar coin, I want to say at the end of the 90s. Like legitimately started using a dollar coin at the end of the 90s. It was barely used, but they had them, and now they've changed the design, I think, a couple times now.
Yeah,
There you go. True, Kathy. It is true.
I can't. I look ridiculous. I look more ridiculous than usual. I am all hunched over. I have my knees bent like I'm squatting. So anything to try to open the disc. I can't stand straight up. I am all like I need.
So Eric is basically a question mark, which
He's
is what we've
old.
been asking all
Oh,
along.
He's old.
Mm.
Yeah.
It is
There you
so bad.
Manoa looked like a souk last year.
No, absolutely. That's the perfect, but it's not suck. Like you're sooky.
Oh,
You
now we
gotta
got
pronounce
another.
it the right way. But yes,
that's what we've gathered. Yes.
Why don't we make
Manoa.
our own?
Oh, okay. Manoa
The
was a
show
sook last year. Darren Gang.
So this is true. The Eisenhower dollar has been around since the 70s, and there was also a Susan B. Anthony dollar. So you're right. But I'm talking about in the more modern context. But Dufex is 100% right. There was the Eisenhower dollar and also the Susan B. Anthony, which is a smaller dollar. But the Susan B. Anthony was not made out of silver. So they started getting away from silver in the dollar. But that is true. There were
We have
$1
that
coins.
coin, and I'm not just saying it. I'm telling you the truth. Nobody uses them. I never ever see one in my daily routine.
Eric,
What? No.
sorry,
powder.
Brad, I have an idea. I have an amazing idea. I think we need to connect and have a discussion, and then we could hit Suki Eric with $1. We can pelt him with $1 coins while he's being a question mark. We can be like, "Arr!" And all of a sudden Eric goes, "Arr!"
Make him pay the like button with.
That's right, exactly. It's like right there.
No.
So Brad, that is multiple things. Number one, we get to throw shit at Eric, so that's great. But then in addition to that, we get to listen to his cries of pain, which of course gives me joy, and then I get the cackle. But on top of all else, content, Brad, amazing content.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Loonies and toonies up north. We don't want that crap here.
No, these are your dollars. We're throwing your own shit at you. That's what's gonna make it better.
I think we did it to try to make you guys feel better about your lunacy. And then people were like, nah, I'm not willing to go that far to support them.
Tell it to the Morgan dollar, Eric. Look, Eric, we can throw Morgan dollars that you want. That shit's silver. It's heavy.
Yeah. We know you want that dollar coin that was in the ice in 2010 when your heart was broken.
That was a toonie. It was a lucky
Ah.
toonie.
Oh, Toonie.
Nice
Sorry.
take. Yeah, Toonie. Yeah.
Maximus says Eric needs the Golden State jersey in the background to go along with the Boston jersey. There you go. Yeah, so this was the one I'm talking about. The Sakarju. I know the one he's talking about. I pronunciation is not my strong suit on this one. I can't help you, but I know what he's talking about. This is the $1 coin when they in the early 2000s they came back with it. So they had a couple of designs, but that was when they kind of brought it back a little bit. Things I had been being managed at a bank, dollar coins and $2 bills. There you go. All right, I got you.
Everybody thinks that $2 bills are worth something. No, they're worth $2. But everyone saves them thinking that someday their $2 bills are going to be worth like $1,000. And it's
but Eric, here's the thing. I agree with you. I agreed with your previous utterance that you are right that in America, a lot of people don't want to touch the $1 coin. I get that. But what I don't understand is why, given the fact that the $1 bill is really only useful in two places, and one of them is Cards HQ on late nights.
And the casinos in Las Vegas. That's it.
I'm just saying there are very few places where the $1 bill is a useful implement.
Yeah, I don't. It must be. I never thought of that, but it really must be tough in Canada on some of these fine young ladies who are putting themselves through nursing school. People are throwing coins at them. That must suck.
No, they get fives.
They get fives, Eric. People are just
round up
cheap.
here. Round up. That's the thing.
Thank you. I appreciate your attention. Bam!
Well, look on the upside. Based on my content plan, you're going to get to find out what it's like.
You definitely do feel like you have a lot more money. Like, look at my wallet is stacked. It looks like it's jacked. There's probably
it's
like
so the American Brad. It's so the Americans
$8
can lie to themselves. Look at how rich I am. It's like that's $30, bro. That's $31 bills, bro.
You can make fun of you can make fun of my money all you want. That's fine. I cross the border and I become a millionaire overnight. So,
and yet you leave poverty stricken just the same.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're not very good at it. I got to be honest with you.
I showed up. I crossed the border. I went to a TD Bank. TD Bank. I went right. Went to the Titty Bank, and
I love that. Look, the Titty Bank is the place at Cards HQ late night where they swap it over, and the $1 bills become useful again.
It's the Toronto Dominion Bank.
I think Brad's the only one that watches Letterkenny. So
that's the only one of the official banks that I have not yet worked for. So don't ruin this for me, Eric. I need one more for the Infinity Gauntlet official.
And I give them $700 cash, American, and then they gave me like $1,500. And I walked out of the bank going, "What a country! This is awesome!"
And all we did was we sold him Wayne Gretzky. It's like, buddy, what'd you buy that for? Like $10. Idiot. Yeah. $2 more popular because that's the minimum bet of those horse tracks. There you go. Doesn't Canada have Queen Elizabeth in there? It's King Charles now, but yes. You put the current monarch, whoever's still alive. But yeah, it's Prince Charles now. Well, King Charles.
King, yes.
Yeah, until the kid takes over. Whenever the kid takes over, then it'll be him.
That'll be fun.
Now, you have to exchange all the money? Because there still must be Elizabeth coins and paper around.
Well, did you ever exchange the $1 bill after Washington died?
No. Benjamin Franklin? No. 100? No,
yeah.
Nothing.
They're all kind of dead. Did you know that everybody in your currency is already dead?
Country. Okay? I don't live under a monarchy that has these strict rules about things.
Yes, you do. They are Republicans and Democrats, but they're the monarchy. You do what they say.
Nation.
You have a dictator.
You are a Canadian protectorate. You are under a monarchy.
Yeah, you guys can't. You guys couldn't protect a.
We're not really protecting you, Eric. It's more kind of isolating ourselves from you the way the rest of America does.
You couldn't protect yourself at a picnic with a sandwich and a bunch of ants. So
stop being a sook.
Yeah, I was gonna say all you're gonna do is get $1 coins thrown at your ass, and you're gonna be like, he's talking all big, and the dude can't even stand up straight. Tell you what, you start talking when you can stand up straight.
I can stand up straight.
Until then, you got nothing. Yeah, that is not straight. Sit your ass back down. You got nothing.
That hurt.
Susie says, Brad, are you in a position to provide an estimated likelihood a full PSA press will be at Toronto Expo again sometime this year?
Yes. So full presence for take-home orders in the April show and full on-site grading again in November. And both shows, though, we're going to have a big a big presence. We got
Start practicing, Brad. Start practicing.
Yeah. I worked on some new activations just for Eric, so we can have those at the April show.
As you should. That's right. There you go. Dufek says Commonwealth in Canada, not a monarchy. It's not the first time Eric doesn't know what he's talking about.
No, it's not a monarchy.
We don't really feel like there's anything to protect in Canada. You're in Wisconsin, Paul. Settle down. Much love, but settle down. I always love how the Americans like to talk trash. Half of you don't matter. In your own country, you don't matter. Settle down. In the U.S., you have to be dead to be on a bill. That's true. Washington was never alive. Ooh. Or anyone for that matter. Once they went on the bills, they were already 6 feet under. True. That is true.
Where's Hockey 99 at tonight?
Oh, I think since I banished him once, I think he ran away.
Oh, he hasn't been back?
Yeah, no, he finally like was being annoying, so I just banished him, and then I think after that he went crying. I think he went go hiding to find. He became Suki.
Yeah, you're gonna use that all the time.
Well, Eric's been Suki this whole time. We've known it, but it's like we did have a word for it, and I guess now we do. So thank you to the prison colony and Nova Scotia for adding this to a vernacular.
Isn't there a song that says "Suki, Suki, Suki"?
They probably different context, but yes.
Yeah.
I spent all my dollar coins at Banana Republic. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
So bottom line is I'm still workshopping if I want to do a direct video about it, because I know that there'll be some people who will cry about it. Like I said, Ham's point is fine. I get what he's saying, but I have two things. I will only compare what's going on with CarJXQ compared to what Geoff has pronounced. That's the first thing, which is to say, like he's already wrecked it for himself. He should have just made the shop and just rolled it out and just started and been like, hey, we'll work on some stuff and whatever. But he has to do like the whole tour and be like, oh, it's going to be like this amazing thing. It's going to be innovative. People are going to do case studies on it. I'm like, no, we're not.
Case studies.
You have to do something worthwhile for us to do. Like, it's like idiot opened up oversized card shop and has to figure out a way to make it profitable. News at 11. And when you do something worth us discussing, then we will do a case study on it. Until then, no. So there's only two ways you're getting a case study. One of them is you completely renovate the space, actually innovate. I'm not betting on that. Or it's a Hindenburg-like ending. Those are the two scenarios where we do a case study. Guess which one you're closer to. I'll leave it to you to figure that out.
A case study. That's obnoxious.
Soup to war.
To say that. It's just like,
and Paul.
It's asking too much. He actually would have been, like, in all seriousness, Geoff would have been better served just to say, hey guys, I'm opening up a card shop. We're going to try some stuff. We'll follow along with us to see how we do. We're going to try some things and you're going to check it out. Here it is. And then just do it. And then you can try stuff and then do videos and do all that. That would have been, it would have been the exact same scenario we're looking at now, but here's the difference. The way I just presented it, it's open-ended. Let people just see what happens. Like, hey, we're going to try this. We're going to try this, do the space this way. We've got this little rolling cart thing. We're going to try to do some live selling off of it and all that. All I did was take the same information and present it differently. I didn't come into it with this attempt to be like grandiose before you have anything worthwhile to be grand. Yeah. You haven't told me about anything innovative. Nothing you have said is innovative so far. Even the stuff you've talked about that you haven't done yet is also not innovative.
You know who also is innovative? It was all about the vibes. But anyways.
Ooh. The vibes, it's true. Case study on what not to do. Harvard Business School case study, what not to do. Yeah, there you go, back to back. You guys were right on it. The only case study we hear about CarJXQ is the arson class of Police Academy.
Harvard is having a lot of problems right now. Did you hear about the Harvard Medical? About how they got, and this is real. Okay, it's only a couple of months old.
As opposed to the fake stuff in Massachusetts. Go on.
This is at Harvard Medical School. Was caught selling organs on the black market.
Why?
There's money in that.
How desperate were you for booby or money?
So
sick freak. You dragged Harvard into this?
People donated their bodies to science to be cadavers at Harvard Medical.
And Eric tried to donate his body to science and all he got was $1 coins.
Yeah, that's
the guy who got in charge of it was harvesting organs and all sorts of body parts, not just organs, by the way, just body parts. And
I don't want to know.
no,
Here's Eric's dignity. It's like, that's worthless, dude. Sorry.
like it's a big deal around here. Like it's huge.
It's a big deal everywhere.
I'm
It
sure.
doesn't matter.
I'm sure.
It's so hard to say parts.
And then, of course, you have the fact that they're being sued and accused of anti-Semitism every single day, and the president pretty much got fired due to plagiarism and her response to anti-Semitism. So Harvard's in the shit house right now.
This is true. This is true. There's some
We don't
struggles.
have to worry about going there.
Yep. Zach says, now watching Cards HQ, not auctioning $1 cards, not even getting some $1 bits. Yeah. No, like, look, here's the thing. My
Now
goal.
that's innovative.
It 100% is not selling anything. That's hugely innovative. But the point is that it isn't my goal to just pick on him for the sake of picking on him.
No, he's just
My
out there.
point was, you set yourself up for this. You're the one who said, oh, we want people to study our model in retail. I'm like, okay, I'm studying in real time as we speak, and I'm not super impressed. But you asked for this, Geoff. I did not ask for this. I did not. But we'll move on. Will BK said you're like, whatever, the Zodiac Killer is deteriorated to amateur sleuthing. Yes. He's actually paying people to do this. Yeah. The stuff that isn't selling, it's paying people to do it. Better than what the Pain State Professor got. Maybe Ted Williams organs. Ooh. Geoff, Crash Test Dummy, International Borders. Good evening. I could donate my wife's body to science. Anybody have a pickup truck? You be you, Bob Dubizzle. You be you. I love your consistency. Wondering if Eric's pissed because he couldn't buy a new hip. He should have gone onto the Harvard
There's
black
the
market.
organ. Wait,
So the guy that was in charge at Harvard Medical was selling body parts to this young man.
He seems like a man who would throw shoes into a washing machine.
Nice enough guy. Yes, he's right along that
Yeah.
lines. You know, in
And
a
I shouldn't-
laundromat at 3 a.m.
I shouldn't.
I
do
would say,
this.
Eric, you're already laughing. You're trying to
Would
be
you-
serious, but you're laughing right now.
Would you like to know what this gentleman's name is?
Geoff?
No. Better not say it.
I can't.
No,
I can't.
don't do it.
My God.
Eric, the struggle is real.
No, I can't. But his name is a real name.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
It's real, all
It's
right.
real.
It'll be double the like button on you if you
Yeah.
say it.
It says, Will here says, Eric going down the politics with their anti-Semitic wolf cry. Stop being an anti-Semitic, Will. It is possible Jeff doesn't know what the word innovative means. I am very much in this camp where it's like, do you know what that word actually entails? Do you actually understand what that requires? Sir. Jeff with a J. Geoff is the most arrogant Jeff I know. There you go. Eric was Paul's guess. His name is Zool.
No, I just sent it to you and told you guys.
All right. Here we go. Ray Carlisle has a comment here. I was at Cards HQ this afternoon. There aren't a lot of $1 transactions in that building. No, for the actual store, I wouldn't think there'd be too many $1 transactions. Slabs everywhere. I picked up a Gem Mint SGC slab for $15. It was probably the smallest transaction today. Sure. What'd you get? I know you collect a lot of Atlanta and Braves and whatever, but what'd you actually end up picking up for the $15? I'd be curious. Eric Orr. There you go, Philly Joe. There you go. So let's see. Hold on. I want to see now since we got it here.
Behave yourself.
Ah!
No, we're not.
You ready?
I'm ready now. The gentleman who Eric just showed has the most prestigious, illustrious, legit name there is. Jeremy Lee. His name is Jeremy Lee Pauly.
Oh, come on. Why you weren't supposed to say it?
I'm sorry. Brad, I'm just reporting the news. I am merely stating facts. That's all I'm doing. So I think though, I am comfortable in saying that individual is at least in the top one Jeremy Lees in existence.
Maybe.
Right at the top. I can't think of anyone else. Anybody else is a far distant second, far less reputable, far less trustworthy, or legit.
Look at little innocent Eric stirring the pot.
I was going to say, Brad, why do you think all of a sudden, as soon as I read it,
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with my hands. Hold on. Give me a second. Give me a second. That's the only Jeremy Lee I recognize. That's the only one.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on.
It's close.
All right, here we go. Tops now with Michael Harris catching that fly ball at the end of game 2 of the NLCS where he doubled up Harper. Nice. All right. Good for you. Good for you. Congrats, Carl. And listen, no matter what anybody says about Atlanta, Georgia, no matter what anyone, any feuds that anyone has with it, you're cool with me, man. You're a good dude. I appreciate you. PWCC is selling organs. Maybe soon. Not to big on Jeff all the time, but in one of his episodes, he didn't even know Ronald Acuna Jr. had brothers coming to big. Yeah, he doesn't know a lot of things. Yes. Jeremy Lee doesn't look Asian. Neither does the other guy.
Yeah.
Geoff selling $1,000 cars. He paid $1,400 for it. Doesn't pierce me either. Yeah, look, the margins, look, by their own admission, the margins aren't super crazy. So I understand why they wouldn't do too much negotiating because it's not like there's a lot of room in their model. That in itself doesn't bother me. I don't care about the not negotiating. I don't care about necessarily being a narrow margin between the buy price they advertise and that. I'm actually completely okay with all of this. So, Brad, I'll just present it this way. I don't care about any of that. I think if that's the way you want to do it, that's fine with me. The only thing I'm concerned about is whatever your overhead is, forget about the lease. For the sake of this conversation, let's pretend the lease is $0, which it isn't, but for the hell of it, let's pretend. You have to pay people who are working there. Even if you're paying them the minimum wage, the sheer amount of employees physically in the store in order to keep the lights on, basically, you're still paying out. It still costs money to physically have them standing around. What's that?
You're supposed to get paid if you work at a card shop.
Well, not if you suck. If you're trash, then you get paid nothing.
I have to make a phone call.
You should. But the point is, like, even at the most... Go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to make fun of Eric. It's too easy. Never mind.
You should.
I had
The
six
point
things
is, though,
going on. I just left it.
the point is, though, the point is, Brad, even if we stick to minimum wage, even if we keep minimum wage, you got 5 people in the store. Every hour that goes by, the cha-ching, 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 money's coming out of the register automatically, no matter what happens. Whether you sell a million things, whether you sell one thing, whether you sell 100 things, it doesn't matter. Like, you're still paying these people to be there and do something theoretically, even if it's just sweeping the floors. The point is you're still paying them. So every hour that goes by, you hopefully are selling something. The problem is, I don't care if you make $5,000 in sales per hour. If your margins are small enough and you're only making a little bit, are you even covering the cost of your personnel? Yeah. That's what I don't know. That's what I'm not following right now. I don't understand. Was the sports car's lifestyle? True. Hard times in tag grading these days. Hey, listen, apparently they have snazzy holders. You can be a VIP. You're a VIP at Burbank. You can have a snazzy holder. You get the fanciest coaster in the land.
Yeah, when we get, speaking of fancy coasters and all that, when we get a chance, I'd love to talk about that video that we all watched the other day that you said.
We can, definitely. We can touch on that.
I have plenty to say about it.
You bet you do. T206 Cat said, if COVID didn't happen, we wouldn't know the name Geoff Wilson. Probably not.
Nope.
There are at least 4 people behind the register watching one cashier to help us out today. So Brad, remember the analogy I said earlier about wasted space?
Yeah.
How about like, what are you all doing? We're supporting you. We're cheering you on, sir, for paying for your purchase. Yeah. Woo. Yeah. Brad, I don't know. I don't know about you, but I feel like at AMG Collectibles, most of the people there are actually doing something while they're there. That's kind of the idea.
No, we got Steve.
Well, we do. Yeah. We got Blair too. But Blair, we got bonus Blair. We got that. So we got that. So that's
Blair's always working. Blair's the hardest worker at AMG. Team B.
Blair. Look at you. Look at you supporting Blair. I appreciate you supporting Blair. But the point is this. At the end of the day, you guys figure out what you want to do. All I'm pointing out is that when you're running a shop that you've created with this much space, just on a square footage standpoint, you want to have people circulating around the space. So in other words, you've necessitated having enough personnel to do that, to cover the space. So in order for that to work, well, guess what? Then you're paying. Every hour that goes by, you're paying more. Yannick, we're not paying you by the hour, but how are you doing?
I'm not paid by the hour, but I'm doing great. How about you guys?
It's going well. It's going well. How do you feel about a Costco-sized McDonald's?
Time out. I'm doing horrible, and I'm glad that both of you two stools. No. What are they? What are they? Stoops? Whatever the fuck.
Sook.
Scoop, whatever bullshit.
I was gonna say, are we talking Sooks again?
I'm glad you two spooks are on the air here because
Oops.
both of you. I'm sick and tired of getting packages in the mail. And I'm getting all excited, going, "Yay! I got presents!" And I open them up, and they're for you, scumbags.
I got presents.
At a post office.
I didn't say you can't.
I got
open it.
presents?
Open it if you want.
You can look at them.
I got
Can't touch it.
stuff in the mail. It's not for me.
Nothing is for you. You suck. You're a Sook. You get nothing.
Clearly, I am the Sook.
Eric, ship my cards.
Yeah, that's
right.
It's not in my own business. I had no idea.
Well, look at the upside. They're paying you at least as much as the card shop is paying you. So that's good.
Pretty much.
Exactly. I am the Sook.
You are.
I work at a card shop. I don't get paid. I work as a mailman. I don't get paid. Something is wrong with me.
Stop
Oh,
being
something?
You're back.
Something? Really?
I'm gonna
That's an
screw
understatement.
it up like the real mail. I'm gonna screw it up and send the opposite packages to these two Sooks. I'll surprise the hell out of them.
Brad, I hope you realize you have infected the Sook parlance into the rest of the, at least into the rest of Canada and even into the Canadian Protectorate, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yannick, I hope you like Mr. T.
Oh no. You
I
did,
had
Brad.
no problem.
You did,
I
Brad.
pity the
Come
fool.
on.
I did.
Yeah.
I bought the card, and then the guy wouldn't ship it, and I was like, because it was raw, and I was like, oh, what am I going to do? And then I thought about my wonderful
old
buddy hanging out in Boston.
Old Sook.
Yeah,
Old Sook himself.
That old Sook, he'll do it.
I love it. I love it.
Not even a
Okay.
hi, Eric. How are you? Just give me your address. That's it.
Yeah.
that was too.
Yeah.
What's your address?
That's all I got from both of them. Hey, would you do me a favor? I'd appreciate it. What's your address? I'm like, this is my address. That was it. No explanation, nothing. Things show up at my house. I open it. I'm like, I didn't order this.
I'm dying in the hospital. Thanks for asking, by the way.
Yeah.
Nicely
Sure.
done, Eric. You insensitive Sook.
See, I
Sure.
even get my guy to ship stuff for me to other people that I sold the stuff to for. How's that? Now that's
Oh, you're screwed now, Eric. I got you in the address, so it just goes Eric. And then
Yep.
It's gonna be a UPS delivery.
gonna need a trailer coming up in
Look,
Toronto.
you waited, Eric. You waited till we figure out right now. Once Geoff if the Cards HQ thing doesn't work out, and he moves on to the Mayonnaise of the Month Club, I know a guy. I know a guy who needs this in his life. I just put it out there, Geoff. Think about it. Mayonnaise of the month. Think about
Yep.
it.
Yeah, mailman of the month. That's me.
There you go. Bubbles will sell. All the kids working there look at Geoff selling his butt off for $1 cards, thinking that poor man. True. Listen, as long as the check's clear, I'm sure the kids will be fine. They'll be all right. They'll be all right as long as the checks keep clearing. So let me touch on this briefly. I know Sports Car Radio brought it up. That's what brought it to my attention. I didn't realize I had to look after. I didn't realize it was a month old. I was surprised actually that it had gone on that long and no one had actually. Well, I wouldn't say no one, but like I felt like it would have circulated more. So I'll summarize it quickly, and if I'll find the link again and I'll share it in the description. You guys can check it out. It was an interview. Now I will caveat everything I'm about to say with anonymous interviewees are always a little murky. It's always a little bit tough because you have to take it with a grain of salt.
Right.
But it was an individual who went on to a podcast and I hadn't heard of, honestly, prior to this. And like I said, Sports Car Radio kind of shouted it out as well. But they went on a podcast about a month ago and they had somebody that anonymously was presumably at Beckett. That's what they claimed. And they said they had done some vetting. So hopefully they did. But as long as they did some vetting and verification that they worked there, that's fine. But they talked a little bit about their time at Beckett, talked about the different ways that some people could identify whose order it was and help and give them potentially favorable grades, and talk about the Clements, the individual who got all those black labels, and a little bit of background information on that. That was
Eagle Eye.
No. Yeah, that's the one.
100
And
labels.
yeah, and basically it talked about that. So again, given how much people, I guess maybe the takeaway should be this: it tells you how much Beckett has dropped down the food chain. That really nobody gave a shit. It was like, yeah, dude, you could literally be like, hey, I'd like some Black Label 10s. Give me a shiny American dollar coin.
Carlos,
And they're like, done.
What's below coaster?
Beckett.
Booby or cards. But the point is that so on the surface, it's quite scandalous, but unfortunately it's like an anonymous person who like gave a little bit of a contribution to it. I will say that there were some very interesting things they talked about in terms of the ability to very easily be able to identify whose order it was, be able to get those things. Good job, VFX.
The guy did know what he was talking about. It seemed like he did. So
yeah, I think there were elements of it that I think were fair. There were some elements so that he was kind of guessing. He was talking about conjecture and like I heard, and so again, you got to kind of weigh it a little bit. So like I said, I will include a link to it in the description for you. If you're checking this out on replay, I'll share it with you. Like I said, the interview was more than a month ago, so I was surprised that it hadn't circulated, made the round. Again, maybe it's a testament to how far Beckett has fallen. Maybe that's the issue, is that it's fallen so far that really nobody gives a shit. Honestly, it could be like,
think
it's almost hard
you
to
would
believe.
think even anonymous, like how many graders they got rid of in the last year and a half. So do the countdown of like you can pretty much narrow it down who's the guy is, or I would think
anyone who works with them, they didn't hide his voice, so anyone who works with them, is gonna know.
I would love to see like anonymous Eric just with the black line over his eyes there.
Yeah, it's like it was all Eric.
Yeah,
it was all him all along. I knew it. I knew one day he would take down the empire. But so that's just something that I want to talk about. So I'll tell you what. If you want to
talk about all of Yannick's deepest secrets, but I don't want anyone to know it's me. So you can call me Joe, and you can ask me anything you want about Yannick, and I'll tell you all about him.
Amazing.
See, everyone go, that's Eric.
Yeah.
1 second in.
That's
so I'll make you a deal. There's actually a segue from this that I can go to. But Eric, look, in the spirit of allowing it, this is your moment. Okay. So if you want, I am going to allow you a few minutes here.
Okay.
Make sure that you keep the souk to a minimum. Like just hold it down a little bit.
Minimum
but you may have a few moments. You may have a few moments to go for it. While I get my refill, have your moment. Go.
Okay. First of all, Carlos is 100% right. That anytime you're dealing with someone who's anonymous, you have to take that into account when you critique what they had to say. Second, like Carlos also said, when he is saying, I heard, there might have been, there was rumors, you can't count that. So now you have an anonymous person saying that they heard rumors or they think.
We say that on this show all the time.
Yeah, well, no one takes us
seriously. Were you there in the room or you heard in the break room?
Yeah,
like so late afternoon.
I throw all of that out. What I do take from it, if I am to believe that this is a real former employee, and what he is saying about things he actually witnessed and knows firsthand about, is that he was allowed to grade his own father's cards. That should be a scandal in its own right, because you should never know whose stuff you're grading. When they say that the company would come to you and say, just to let you know, this is, Brad Hartland's order. Wink, wink. Okay. He factually said firsthand, the company heads will come and say, this is one of our big fish. Take good care of them. Right there, your company is trash. Then you have the whole thing at Leaf, where you have somebody that's working for a card company and working for you. That's an issue. Now they're bringing in their stuff from work, and on the weekends, sitting there at their desk, just grading their own stuff pristine by the hundreds. Every single Black Label now has to be looked at that it lost value.
Wait, you mean all your 10s Black Label Reggie Lemelin?
No, those are still
Worthless?
okay.
Those
No,
are good.
those are still
Sure.
okay.
So this is the video in question. So I just want to make sure I show it here so you can check it out. If you want to look it up ahead of time, this is the title. This is the Sports Card Madness podcast. Honestly, I hadn't heard one thing about them prior to this.
No,
And
but
again, this was a month ago.
yeah,
This was a month ago.
I think they did a good job. I liked the way they did things. They
Yeah, this was
seemed-
at the end of last year. This was December 29th. I guess it fell under the
Really?
radar. People saw it, but like it's been a while since this thing
Right.
came out. And like it didn't really get too far in terms of it, although they had some engagement, but like not like a crazy amount, relatively speaking. All things considered. But again, it goes back to maybe where Beckett has fallen in terms of the pecking order, that people just were not paying attention.
They probably got a peak in the last 48 hours there.
So I just want
I
to
guess so.
finish this.
Go ahead.
If there's 100 Black Labels in the world, pristine, absolute, perfect cards, there's only 100 Black Labels in the world, and I go in on a Saturday and I make up 120 more and put them out into the world. Those 100, even if they are absolutely positively perfect, have now lost value because you had something very rare. You had the unicorn, and then all of a sudden somebody just added 150 more unicorns. Well, it's not as rare now. So all those people lost money by this fraud because now the Black Label isn't really as rare as we thought because they're out in the market. And how do you know, is this a good Black Label or is this part of the scam from the guy from Leaf? So I don't know how you bounce back from this when you know that the company heads are telling their graders to upgrade their big fish. People are allowed to grade cards of family members and friends, and people are allowed to bring in their own cards and grade them pristine Black Label.
You'll figure out a way, Eric, how to handle this situation.
Shut up, Brad.
I know you will.
I was gonna say, like, literally, this is your job, bro. Like, get on it, man. Fix it. Fix
I
it,
got
goddammit.
Yeah,
It
I
is-
don't understand how they hear the guy's voice. Like, you know who it. Like, why even black yourself? Even you ever seen those TV shows where we're gonna hide you, and they don't. It's like, dude, if you worked with me, I know who you were.
Yeah.
Bobby, they basically did it on StreamYard. There's no voice modulation thing that you can do.
It might have been Peter from SGC. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
Just
Hey,
to
listen,
give them
after my
gonna
issues with him
keep
and the
you
flying
below me.
cars, I was promised things, Bobby. I was promised things.
I guess
We got word. We're gonna have words.
I'd say.
Just saying.
And-
But yes,
and
so
the
I will include a link to that in the description for y'all.
that shit bum company had left has to be destroyed. How would anybody still say, "Oh yeah, I still want to send my cards to Beckett. They're good. They do a great job." Are you kidding me?
They have a great opportunity to change things. They're just not taking it upon themselves. Maybe they're fooling themselves in the marketplace thinking that they're still doing good. Like, how can you go to work every day and know that you've fallen so far and not pick yourself up? What's the CFO doing? What are the people doing there?
Well, the owner's in prison, so I mean, he's
Well,
not.
listen, it all went
You mean
downhill.
CVO, Chief Visionary Officer?
Yes.
It all went downhill after the only good Jeremy in the hobby, Jeremy Murray, left.
Yep.
That sunk him. That sunk him so hard. He was standing up as a beacon of integrity, and all of a sudden they're like, "Ha! Beacon of integrity, get the fuck out!" But I'm trying to fix. Get out.
We don't want
Where's
it
the
fixed.
awesome picture of him and that friggin' goofy smile of his?
I have to see if I can find it. The
Yeah.
point is this. So here's my segue off of this, and we'll have a little bit of fun with this one. Brad, I think you'll enjoy this one. I think we'll have a little bit of fun with this one here. So speaking of, since Eric spoke so glowingly of Beckett, his personal favorite,
Shit
it
bum.
was founded by good old Dr. Jim Beckett, Jim Bob. So that dude. So it was founded, but
Dr.
this
J.
came across my desk last week, and I didn't get a chance to talk about it until now, really. So I want to briefly touch on it. The deadline's already passed, but I thought it was funny, so I'd still mention it here. So I don't know if a bunch of you caught on to this, but apparently our good friends at Topps Fanatics, the Fanatics Overlords, created a nomination for him. Apparently this is legit, as far as I'm aware. I don't know. So it circulated a little bit for the Topps Hobby Hall of Fame. Who needs another bullshit Hall of Fame for 1,000, Alex? Let's go.
Oh, good Lord.
Oh, yes. But apparently you were able to fill out this form to try to nominate somebody for this, And I'll read you what it says in the little blurb here. The Topps Hobby Hall of Fame is being developed to honor hobby leaders through creativity, hard work, and ingenuity have grown the collector community, led breakthrough innovation. So Geoff is out. Innovation, problem. Innovation, and served as role models in the industry. Nominees should be known for their passion, integrity, and commitment to sports and entertainment cards and collectibles. Shop owners, breakers, influencers, collectors, and industry leaders are eligible. The applications had to be submitted by February 15th. So I'm sorry y'all missed it. It was yesterday was the deadline. But this led me down a couple of thoughts as I was having. I originally was going to make a video on this, but I was unfortunately I was working when this came to my attention. So I was like, all right, I'll get to it on Friday. But I got to be honest. The entertainment value could be tremendous. Tremendous. With that open criteria, there's a lot of people that you could put in there, really. And I did hear some thoughts on some different things. But look, in the spirit of kind of what Eric was talking about, I'll kind of play around with this.
Myself. I am putting it out there right now. I will kill myself. I will do it live on this broadcast.
I don't think I'd be able to monetize it, but I'd allow it.
Yeah.
I will kill myself.
Could you do it with that card? That'd be really ironic.
I will die of a
Yannick, that'd be pretty ironic. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be
I will
great.
swallow this and choke on it.
Here comes the chain, Eric.
I was gonna say. Anyway, so here's the point that I wanted to make.
I heard Jeremy's a
funny.
nominee.
Oh, listen, no doubt.
Legend.
So anyway, so Dr. Beckett should sue for damage done to his name. Yes. Here. Only one man can say
He
Beckett.
sold
Jeff
his
Wilson,
name.
owners of Cards XU. Yes, he did. Jeff, first ballot. Yeah, let the Kengola lobbying efforts commence. That's right. But look, here's the thing. So let me start off legitimate, and then I will get increasingly absurd as we get into the rest of the conversation. So from a legitimacy standpoint, the only real ones that I would look at legitimately are somebody like a Jefferson Burdick or a Cy Berger, somebody who was involved in those days of building up actual elements of the hobby.
Yep.
Here's a bit now. So those would be like my more legitimate points. There's a lot of folks you could throw into different categories if you want to. So now we're going to adjust over to slightly absurd. Look, I'm going to take the take. Here's where I'm going to have some fun with this. Speaking of kind of what we were just talking about a moment ago, the segue off of it. As far as I'm concerned, Beckett is unworthy of such a accolade. And I will tell you why.
Do tell. Yes.
Yes, I will tell you why. The only thing, speaking of lack of innovation, he did not invent the price guide. There were already price guides out before Beckett became. He developed the price guide that became the most popular. So that is true. That is true. He did bring the price guide format to the masses, and the magazine brought it to the masses. So this is all true. This is all accurate. That is fair. That is reasonable.
Like beta VHS, right?
Yeah, but all I'm getting at, so Bobby, I think you'll appreciate where I'm going with this. So hang in with me. What I'm getting at is that he did not genuinely innovate there. They had a magazine and they became the popular one, and he was able to popularize it.
Yes.
Yeah, so he was able to popularize it, and he was became the big kahuna in that space. But here's the other angle that I would throw at you as well. For the folks that don't like the value side of it, they don't like the top 5 lists, they don't enjoy any of those things, Beckett is as much responsible for that as anybody else, because the Beckett hot list was the thing. The up arrows were the thing. All of those things were part and parcel of all that stuff you claim to hate about the hobby today. You can literally pinpoint it back to him.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Jefferson Burdick was cataloging, which to this very day, the T206 is the T206 because of Jefferson Burdick and his work. And Cy Berger took Topps to that next level, building up the early years of Topps to build them up into the juggernaut they became. Not what they are today, but what they actually became when they became a juggernaut. These were people who actually built up those elements of it.
Yep.
Beckett, in a lot of ways, destroyed a lot of what the innocent hobby was. So is he really Hall of Fame worthy, or is he part of the problem?
Tough call.
I'm just throwing it out there. I merely pose a question.
Well, remember when he came out, well, with hockey, I guess it's different than baseball. So, he jumped in the hockey market right when the boom happened. So I think it was a good opportunity at that time. But I think he was already doing baseball back to 84.
I believe
As
it'd be
early
in the
as?
early it'd be in the early 80s. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, see, he's there and he's doing what, not too many people did, and they made it mainstream. Another great one was the price guide for sports card, mhm, sports collectors,
Digest.
digest. Yes, that's the one I was looking for. Yeah,
Yeah.
Krause.
Bob Lemke was one who ran their division. That
Yeah, they did
he
a
would be
great
another
job.
one that I would consider more in the line of like legitimately a real player in the game.
Yes, for certain. And they had a great price guide. And there was, tough stuff
Greetings,
was out
Finland.
there too.
Just want to acknowledge greetings, Finland.
Oh,
Thank you for
wow.
hopping on. So that's kind of the reason why I kind of question. So Dufex here throws in Henry Ford didn't invent the car, but we brought it to the masses. We still talk about our history class. I agree. So
Yep.
that's why I wanted to make sure I qualified it. But here's what I'm going to throw out at you. He brought it to the masses, yes. I guess what it really comes down to, though, what I'm kind of struggling with, and look, the reason I presented it the way that I did, and I know Bobby has his feelings on it, but I wanted to also present a different angle on it, a different twist. And part of that twist is that I could make the legitimate thing. Here, are you suggesting Beckett ruined the hobby I love? Based on what I hear about the complaints of today, you could argue that he very much was the epicenter of a lot of the things people don't like about the hobby today.
Maybe.
I'm just looking at what they say and saying, like, shouldn't you be looking? I just don't think I've said this before, and Brad knows this, and we have had conversations a lot of times over things. I don't put anybody on a hobby pedestal. That's not my deal. Nobody is a sacred cow to me in the hobby. But I think we deify a lot of these folks, and I go, should we though? There's some warts on that resume too. Like there are some things that you contributed towards that I don't know if that's what you did. If you deserve that kind of an accolade. And I'm not willing to automatically give it to you. I'm just not. That's me.
You can give
Others
the
may,
verdict
but I
all
won't.
day.
Yeah, but that's what I say. Like to me, as more of a history, I'm putting my history major hat back on here. Burdick to me was more the forefather of a lot of this stuff. The cataloging efforts are commendable.
Mhm.
What he did was actually built something out of nothing. There was nothing. We had nothing really. We were kind of starting from scratch, and he was able to set up a lot of the components that got us there. So if Beckett is Henry Ford in this analogy from Dufex, then Burdick invented the wheel. He gave us the infrastructure, the baseline that we were able to build the rest of off of. So I feel like that's more noteworthy to me if I'm going to rank them.
And he sure wasn't making any money at it. That's for sure.
No. And Beckett was very well compensated for his efforts. So like he got his reward. He has been rewarded very handsomely. So I don't think there's any issue there. But I just throw it out that way.
Probably sold the
Young.
best time too.
He probably. Kit Young, yeah. Kit Young was infamous. He was one of the big dealers of the era. Like there's some dealers that I think
was big,
would
all right.
probably also be worthy. Yeah. But I think some of those deals would probably be worthy for different things they brought to the table and different ways they created their own genres and mini niches.
I think the Larry Fitches, yeah, for sure.
That's another good one. Yes, that is an excellent one.
So I
read this one
look at
here.
The history of my collecting, I would say that nobody is more important to me than Jim Beckett, I guess. Yeah,
Probably.
the starting in '88 when I started collecting, and shortly after that, the Hockey Beckett came out. I still have it with Gretzky on the cover, and I think I have the first 10 issues or something still. I mean, God, I read that thing cover to cover 5 times, looked at every single card, just couldn't wait for the next month for the next one to come in. They were, and it did show up around the boom time. I don't think there was anything more important than that, because it came to your doorstep. It came to your mailbox, and you could enjoy this. Remember, there was, that's old goats here. There was no internet. There was no way to communicate with people. This was it. There was nothing else that could come to my house to tell me what was going on in the hobby through the rest of the country in North America. This was it for me.
There were shows, even going way back before that.
Yeah.
But nothing could come to my house. Now we just Google it.
That's fair. So, but let me pose this question. So 2 things. I'll read a couple of these comments, but I also want to pose a question based on what Eric is just saying here. So Dufex says collectors Marshall Fogo deserve to belong. I don't think necessarily, because Marshall Fogo he's an
Nah.
interesting example. He's an interesting character. I'll
No.
put it this way: he's an interesting character, but like he isn't doing anything that changed anything. He's just there. His thing is that he owns some very famous cards.
He's got the cards.
Yeah, like that doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't register. That's why I say the reason why I took the angle I did, and maybe a controversial take, so to speak. And Brad, I want to get your thoughts on this one. So yeah, hopefully you understood kind of where I was going with it and kind of the angle that I was taking on this. I don't disagree about the infamy, but I feel like if you're talking about first, again, we're playing into this concept for a minute. Again, it's a made up Hall of Fame. It's another bullshit made up Hall of Fame in the spirit of bullshit made up Hall of Fames.
Sure.
I still feel like the founders and the people that laid the foundation are like the legitimate people that would be the first that I would look at. Those would be the first. The real hobby pioneers are the real ones. Beckett is much later.
Yes.
He's not, but there are people who, based on the name and the cachet used to hold in the hobby, would like immediately look to him as like a first thought. And I'm like, dude, you don't even make it to like a third or fourth class. I got to go several levels before I even get to you.
Like at the
I'm
baseball
sure
Hall of
we
Fame,
will get
the
to you,
first 9.
but you're not a first ballot. You're not a second ballot. Maybe I'll get to you third or fourth ballot. I'll think about it. But they're like pioneers and people that built the road that you got to walk and then build your own thing after that.
Jim Beckett wasn't Henry Ford. Okay. Jim Beckett was Ferrari. And that is what everybody wants. Everybody wants the Ferrari. They don't want, a Ford Escort.
Stuff.
Okay. And yeah, all the stuff that came before Beckett, he wouldn't have been able to build a Ferrari if, his Ferrari of the hobby, if it wasn't for those guys before him. There's no doubt about that. But I had no idea who those people were in 1988. And when the magazine showed up on my doorstep in 90 or something, I still didn't know who they were, but I learned about who this Jim Beckett guy was. And, thank the good Lord of the hobby, the God of the hobby, that he existed, because this was bringing information to me as a young collector that I had no idea about. These kids now
still don't.
They're holding a computer. There's more information and technology in this phone than there was in the Apollo 11 capsule.
The one that supposedly went to the moon?
The one that supposedly went to the moon.
And even then, you can't still use it to figure out to not throw your shoes into a washing machine. Like it literally says it right there.
I will continue.
That
to
just ends his story at that point.
It does. It very
but
much
anyways, that's my analogy. Okay. Beckett was Ferrari, and the gentlemen that, the guys that you were talking about were unbelievably important, and they were the Henry Fords, and we wouldn't have gotten to Ferrari without them, but everybody would rather have a Ferrari.
Until it breaks down and then you have to pay the bill.
Yeah.
Henry Ford gave us a sample line. Beckett brought the hobby together at a high level by elevating the masses. Beckett was there at the right time. I think that's her. Crawford Foxwell and Tom Collier. These names vaguely sound familiar, but I don't recall them too much. Cyberger, I did mention Cyberger. He was another one that I would include because Topps became so prevalent and so important in the space that I think Cyberger deserves a seat at that table. To me, he would be one of the first ones I would think of.
I would think George Kennedy too, who owned Parker's, started Parker's.
Sure. I think anyone who's in the more foundational era of the hobby,
But we
I
have
look at
to
those people
watch-
first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look at those people first.
Oh, Bowman for sure. Like that guy's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. So that's what I say.
An article
That's why I say I don't get to Beckett until several iterations later. Look, for the infamy, he deserves some credit and credit. But look, it's like I got to knock the guy down a peg to remind y'all that he was standing on the shoulders of other people who
Yes.
built the foundations,
No
and
doubt.
then other people get to stand on his shoulders and so on and so forth. But you still weren't. Let's look at the foundation first. Let's start at the foundation and then work our way up if we insist.
It would have to
So
start.
any
there.
thoughts on that, Brad? Real quick, I wanted to get you at least to chime in a little bit. Any thoughts on that?
I don't care about Brad's opinion.
Who's a Hall of Famer other than anybody that Eric hates? I'd be in favor of anyone that you can name that Eric hates. Go on.
I think you guys summed it all up. There should be different categories.
Like
You have a
builder
founders,
and,
you have a builder, absolutely, and that makes sense. And then you can say like probably the guys from Parkhurst that you did the article on, and like those guys under the founder category, and maybe have someone, you know, to me when I look at it, like an Adam Martin with David Adams. I know he's my friend, but the guy had a store since 1988 all the way through into a, you know, $500 million empire. Like,
Yeah.
sure. I mean,
Look, there would be a lot of people that would hate it, and I was joking with it on a text message thread with somebody. But if you're talking about fame or infamy,
yeah,
Mr. Min Al Rosen was
absolutely.
infamous. So
Yep.
so like at least those of us who were around, we remember that dude. You
Yeah.
say the name, we know who you're talking about. For better or worse, we know exactly who you're talking about.
But
Because
it's
he
hard
was
for the
everywhere for a
hobby
while.
now. It's hard for the hobby now to go forward to go back, because they're so forward thinking now that I don't think anybody will give a shit for the most part. Who's Frank Nagy? Nobody knows. I didn't.
Nothing happened before 2016. Bro.
Basically, yes, that's the truth. And actually, that is
So that
the
means,
truth.
hey, that helps me out. Then Beckett doesn't exist. Boom, we're done.
Boom, we're done.
It's over.
Only the goats.
Only the goats. I love it.
Yes, so many.
I like that. CEO people about cigarettes. Well played. Well played, Dufex. Well played. Dances, of course, we're missing the obvious number one guy, Geoff. Of course. Slime ball wing would be awesome. Fantastic. Eric, say it with me. Probstein.
Oh no,
Mastro.
boy, Master. Well, that
Let's
goes
go.
The most famous card trimmer.
That's infamy right there.
Now, they're like, hey, listen, that's a category.
The owner of
Steinbeck.
Beckett.
There's some other angles there too. There's lots of other
Of
things
course.
that went on, you know.
If we go with the shady wing, like, listen, then it gets fun. Listen, I want to be in charge of the shady wing. Brad, I'm in. If we get a shady wing, I'm in. I will personally
It's
vet
too big
these
of an
choices
area.
myself.
You can't handle that by yourself. It's so big.
I'm gonna have a team, Bobby. I'm gonna have a team.
You're
We're
gonna
gonna build
need
a
it.
dream team, and we're gonna build a perfect slimy wing. We're gonna
You're
love
gonna
it.
need a 14,000-foot office to.
Well,
That's right.
what they
Listen, I know a place. I think somewhere in Georgia, there's a place that's gonna be coming up on the market in like a
pretty
year.
close. Yep.
Brad, there's gonna be a
3
place
years.
in Georgia coming up in the market in about a year, and I'm gonna be right there setting up my office, setting up camp,
Right by the airport.
and I'll use 13,000 of the square feet for a McDonald's.
Mm.
It's
And a
an
ball
interesting
pit.
thought ex- Yeah, that's right. It's an interesting thought experiment. Do you know why Tops is doing this? Do you want to honor pioneers? Just a reason to give Drake an award. Listen, I genuinely don't know why it even came up. I just thought it was amusing. It amused me, and I thought it'd be funny to discuss, like, why on earth would you even look? Even if we want to entertain this exercise, then it gets really interesting. Like I said, Beckett becomes a name for a lot of folks. That's why I wanted to push back on a little bit. I go, guys, he's not even in my first couple of classes because, again, I've got a lot of issues with what came of the Beckett era as a result of it. And if you claim to be a hobby purist, then Beckett in reality is the Antichrist. He created a lot of the problems you bitch and moan about today.
What about
So it's
Don
like, in
West?
reality, we might have been better off if he had never gotten involved.
Don West, where do you slam him? Wow.
Don West is just greatness. Don
Yeah.
West is like elite.
Another one who came into my home. You know, again, no internet, no way.
You
out.
let creepy people into your home all the time, Eric. That happens.
Okay.
Yes, that
Yeah.
happened last weekend.
Yeah, the guy below you. I
Mm.
still can't get the stink of French out.
Wow.
The whole house
All
smells
right.
like
Poutine.
poutine.
Haven't
Poutine
find
every
all the
other day
mayonnaise
now.
packs everywhere.
The whole
Yeah, I was
house
good.
smells like
Yannick,
poutine.
Yannick,
I
you need
get
to
rid of the
Yannick, you
stink.
need to join us. You need to join Brad and I on our quest to throw $1 American coins at this asshole. He's gonna get his. He's gonna get his.
So don't they pick somebody, like they take a couple from past and then they do a couple of present when they do the Hall of Fame?
As far, I think this is the first time they've ever thrown this out, Bobby. Like
no,
it's never been a thing.
Traditional fashion with other Hall of Fames. Do they not take a couple of old guys in review and then they do somebody new to keep, it moving?
So in forever ago, when they started a lot of the real Hall of Fames that started, the real ones, they would do that. They would get it to committee together and be like, okay, look, we need to represent these different eras. So go, all right, early era, who comes to mind? Who should be considered in that early era? And then the middle era, whatever.
The first class, right? And
Yeah. And you break it into pieces. You say, like, because even the Baseball Hall of Fame, for all its warts and its problems and various things, in the first go around, the Baseball Hall of Fame didn't start until the 30s. I want to say the late 30s.
1930s.
So by that, thank you. So by that point, you were looking at it and going like, but you already had a bunch of history already, like decades and decades and decades of the game. Some of the players that were being considered early on were long retired.
Oh yeah.
So they were long gone. So you had to kind of think, okay, so we got contemporary players who retired in the last 5 years or 10 years. And then we got players who retired 30, 40, 50 years ago from the 1800s. And now you got to work backwards and go, okay, who do we acknowledge from this era? Because it's a completely different game. So how do we consider this? Who are the builders from that era? Who were the early pioneers who built the game? Even though they may not be considered today, they were 50, 60 years ago, but they were still part of it. So, and then you got the later guys. You got the Ty Cobbs, guys that were retired for a period, but not as long. It had been maybe a decade for them, but they were still giants in the game.
Yeah.
Well, we should keep track of this and see where that really does go. I'd be interested in seeing the list of names. It'd be really interesting.
Yeah, I think it's fair.
I'm pretty
Listen,
sure
Because
I-
they
saw,
did
like,
it. They
hey,
did it.
you
right?
guys
And
heard that
they kind of-
YouTube Hall of Fame thing, and then they walk back to the office.
What? That's the thing?
We should do like one for the hobby, but keep it secret so no one can vote until the 15th. Now we'll talk about it the next day.
Listen, I only want to vote for people who have 10-minute videos with 5 minutes of ads.
Yeah, whoa, big.
That might be.
Moving
Come
on.
Hmm?
I said nothing. What? Who am I even talking about? I'm just throwing stuff out there. That's it.
Stuff.
Provincine, yes. Joe Orlando's right. I always thought Hal Rosen was a Cleveland Indians executive. There you go. The hobby commentators comment inaugural class must include Bob Boozle. Look at you. Galasso. Okay. There you go. Good stuff. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting that they would go that route. I was a little bit. It came out a little bit out of left field, and as soon as I saw it, I was very amused. I was like, "Ooh, this could potentially be very entertaining in its own way." We'll see. I guess we'll see what they make out of it because, like I said, the nomination form time that you could fill it in is over. So I'd be curious to see who filled in what if
There'll be
anything
a lot
comes
of
of it.
basketball related things happening there for sure.
I
if
guess
they have
so.
their
Yeah.
way.
Card
I don't know.
creator, like people who made like the exquisite and all that stuff. You can go
Oh.
all like
Doesn't Carbon get enough press?
Listen, no one's a bigger fan of Carvin than Carvin.
Card
Boys, I
design?
got Carlos, Yannick, Bobby. I got to take off. I got to jump in the shower here for dinner. Whatever. Eric. Yeah, that's it. Eric, you even
Yeah.
have a good night tonight.
Sounds good. We'll chat later. Make sure you don't cause too much trouble on the West Coast. Listen, you still got too many hours left.
No, I'm going to eat and I'll be in bed, and then I'll give an update from the Burbank show tomorrow, where I'll be for the day. So
Right on.
Nice.
Well,
Sounds
have
good. We'll chat later.
Find me
Thank you for
something
joining
nice.
in, Brad. Take it easy.
thank you guys. See you, boys.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Later, Brett.
It'll be as political as WWE Hall of Fame, probably. Like anytime there's a Hall of Fame thing where there's voters and different things, well, I was like, yeah, pretty much.
Wash and break.
No worries. He said his over his name now, whatever. It always was.
Whatever.
Exactly. That sounds about right. So Yannick, so I wanted to make sure we had to go down that path first. We needed to venture down those paths. So you've joined us. How are you this evening? And what's going on in your neck of the woods?
pretty good.
You went to the show,
Uh,
didn't you? You went to the Montreal. You went to the expo.
The
In ye
Quebec
old
City
lands.
Expo right in my
Can you tell us
backyard.
a little bit about it? Give us a report.
I can actually. I went there Friday. It opened around 1 p.m. and there was a lineup outside. I would say about, I don't know, 30 people waiting in line. And it's in a farmer's market that is maybe, I would say, I don't know, 400 or 500 feet long.
Okay.
And it's on it's on the south side of the building, and that's where basically all the stands are for the fresh produce in the summer. So it's perfect, like as in to have like your booth and like a pathway that people can flow around. And so basically in the other part, it's the restaurants and venues and the bakeries and sausage.
Wait, were
guys.
the restaurants and bakeries operating during this? Because this sounds like a great food situation.
Yes, actually, it's very kind of like unique that way. So, and like right across from the parking lot from there, that's the big arena venue where there is a hockey tournament. And so lots of pedestrians, lots of foot traffic. Kids were free
Okay.
if you're in the playing the tournament, and $10 per adult, $5 for kids under the age 14 or something like that. They had about 10 or so athletes, ex-NHL stars, Manon Rhéaume, Bob Gainey, a few of the old Nordiques.
Okay.
Vinny the Cavalier, Owen Nolan, crowd favorite around here. And I would say about 75 vendors, 120 or so tables, 110, 120 tables.
That's not bad. That's a decent sized show. I think that's fair.
Yeah, actually, for a first time, I think it's actually that was very good. It was busy. I saw kids opening packs. I saw kids buying Pokemons. I saw smiles. Parents are, they were taking the kids around, and people were buying. Not definitely for me and my type of what I collect, but there was a little bit for everybody. Comsey was there. Guys like Slap Sharks. Few others that I forget the names, but mostly locals. But I saw the organizers of the expo as well from Toronto, so they were here for I would say the first day and a half. Very promising, very exciting for what else is coming. I think probably gonna hear about it this week, I'm guessing.
Sounds good. So here's kind of a couple of follow-up questions here. So based on what you were talking about there, so it sounds like a decent venue for it. It sounds like a good one. Look, I love the fact that there was actually some decent food options based on the structure. I like that. Big fan of that.
You had actually to even go through the market before you can access the expo. So you kind of like get all like, here's the bathroom, here's all the food you get. There's literally a bar, like a microbrewery. So you could literally go buy a beer, not necessarily walking around, but just right next door.
And which location was this? Sorry, and which specific city was this one in?
Quebec City.
Too French, but I like the rest of it. The rest of it sounds good. Parlez-vous français? No.
But actually, because like I said, there was the international tournament right next door.
Right.
Mostly in the show, it was Anglophone.
No, I get it. But the only reason I mentioned it, Yannick, is because I've been to Quebec. So it's one of those things where I understand that there is a distinction. Montreal works fine.
Montreal works fine.
Because Montreal, like you can literally, it's not a joke. You can literally walk into a restaurant and they'll ask you, do you want service in English or French? And you can specify right off the top. It's like English, please. and then no problem. And most of the servers are bilingual and they can work with you, whatever the case may be. Very flexible. Montreal is very flexible that way. When you start heading north or you start heading to other parts of the province,
yes, east side.
Generally speaking, you better be up on your French.
It's yeah, I would say mainly all the exposing the people, the sellers were francophone, but again, being in the hobby, let's say everyone has to kind of speak English no matter what, so you can always kind of get around or use your Google Translator.
I guess so, but I do like I said,
put a couple tabernacles in it.
You're my Google Translator.
Yeah, just put a couple of tabernacles in it and you'll be good.
That's right. I do like the more unusual venues. I like that part because look, that's part of the reason why I've talked about it here. I love going to these CSC shows, even though they started getting a little bit big with all the extra stuff they've thrown into it. Like it's getting a little wacky now, but I like the CSC shows because, and I mentioned this to Eric, I mentioned this to everybody else that has been on here checking it out. For many years, all I would attend were the expos, which are big shows, gigantic shows. And I didn't go to a lot of the small shows. I've kind of liked getting back into doing a couple of, and the CSC show is actually becoming a pretty decent sized show. But I got to be honest, one of my favorite versions of the CSC show that happened last year was when we went to the German Haas. I just love that venue. I thought it was an adorable little venue. It wasn't a big venue. It was not, but it was fun for what it was. It was a decent amount of dealers. There were enough dealers where you could get some stuff done. Now, bigger shows, you're going to get more variety potentially and all that, which is always excellent. You want to have that. That makes for a good show. But I do enjoy the idea that it doesn't always have to be a 200, 300, 400 table show. It doesn't always have to be that. I love the fact, I think a 50 to 100 table show that is well set up in a good venue where there's a little bit of variety, I think there's value to that. I think you got to be careful though. This is where the CSC show is getting a little murky water. Like their entry fees are pushing like 15, $20,
Yeah.
which is right up against the expo. So I'm saying, like, guys, you're not on that level. So you got to be a little bit careful because you're not on that level.
$10,
And
I
you're
thought it
charging
was
like,
pretty fair.
yeah, like you tell me like $5. Okay, I kind of get that, but they're pushing it. I still like it for what it is. The next one I think is in March, so I'll probably attend the one in March. That'll be up forthcoming, and I'll look forward to checking it out. I'm having fun checking it out. I know some folks there. I can chat with them up. That's good. But the last one I will say was crazy. And if whenever Bobby comes back, if we get a chance to talk about it, we can. But like, I actually didn't get a chance to see the Burrell on the last show. That's how wacky it was. It took me a little while. I was a little delayed in getting over, but I got there just after lunch. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, here's the thing. I
What?
actually,
You know that showed up after lunch. Huh?
yeah.
Fucking.
Eric, here's the problem though. I was actually doing something. I actually had errands that I needed to run. The family needed to borrow me in the morning to actually. I was up. So the issue wasn't that I couldn't get down there. The issue was that I couldn't get down there at the time I planned to get down there.
Priorities,
around.
Carlos. Card show, family after.
That's right. Tell family.
When it comes to a card show, I don't mind coming in after lunch. That's not a problem for me. I don't care. But in this case, my plan was to attend in the morning. But here's what's funny. And I don't think I mentioned this to Bobby. Even though we were text messaging and I actually was heading down and I got there just after lunch. So I was actually en route. And Bobby was mentioning that he wasn't able to get a parking spot. He went to go get lunch and then he was trying to come back and he wasn't able to get a parking spot. It was busy. It was annoying to him. And then he took off and he was heading off. But here's the funny thing. And I don't think I mentioned this to Bobby. As my Uber was heading in, okay, my Uber was driving back this way. I saw the Burrell. I literally saw him as he was driving out, as my Uber driver was driving in. So I literally just missed him by that much. It's literally minutes. Not a joke, minutes. And I just chuckled when I saw it. When I saw him driving by the other way, I was like, I just laughed. I was like, okay.
The Burrell Mobile.
But I went and puttered around a little bit, checked it out. Like it was good for what it was. But I only stayed like for an hour or two. Like it wasn't like I spent a lot of time there. I like visiting though. I hung around a little bit. I chatted with some of the dealers and stuff that I know. And that's where I found that Whitey Ford 53 Topps card. So it wasn't a loss by any stretch of the imagination. I still found a card. It was all right. But it was super busy. It was very busy. It was packed. So it's gotten a little bit that way. But that's just something to bear in mind. Every show is its own flavor now. The CSC shows are taking on their own different, distinct way of doing it. I don't know if it's necessarily the way to go to make it easy for people to access. But I'm not going to say it's bad because, hey, I hope the promoters do well. I think it's great that they're running a show on a regular basis in the area. That's awesome. So I'm not going to complain about that. And I think there's enough variety there where you can find things. But I think you got to, I feel like for those shows now, you have to be there early to kind of find your stuff early before it gets super busy. And otherwise it's tough to make your way around. It really is tough when it gets that busy in that space. But the space keeps getting bigger and bigger. They keep expanding it. It keeps getting larger and larger. So this is CC for you, Yannick. How does the show compare to a regular anti-expo?
Oh, smaller. That one was way smaller. But I think for them being the first expo, that's definitely a good it's a good step in the right direction. There's actually another section similar, but on the other side of the building if you want. So it's on the lengthwise size, and in the middle you have like basically the farmers market. So like Carlos, like think of like a what's the market in Toronto there? Stanley Market or St. Lawrence Market?
Kensington?
Yeah, I think the big one like brick-ish. It's right downtown anyway, and kind of like that kind of feel, and like super high ceilings, like windows everywhere, so very bright to see everything. Compared to the anti-expo, I would say maybe half the size. So, but you're in the 100 table, so it's a nice size for local. I would say me. Couple hours, like I went everywhere, I would say twice, and you weren't really necessarily pushed, but there was traffic.
Yeah, I think 100 tables is a good solid show
good
size. I think look, part of the reason why I have so much fun with the whole national thing and I had some fun on Big Scott's channel talking about this a little bit as well. At a certain point, if the show gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, it just becomes a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Like it is at a certain stage, it becomes, and I'm not somebody who's bothered by big crowds. That doesn't bother me per se. Like none of that is an issue necessarily for me. But I'm also like, this is not a good experience, me sitting here with this massive humanity in front of me, and I'm trying to maneuver my way around to get to point A to point B. And there's 50 people just standing in the middle of the aisleway and like an idiot going, I'm like, move, get to the side or move. Like, I don't care. Just something. You're taking up space in the middle of the aisle.
I can't compare because I never been to the national. I can imagine like square footage and what everyone's talking about. I personally, I think the expo could get bigger if they really wanted to, but should they? Do I really want it to go bigger? I don't think so. I think it's maybe they can reorganize a little bit the space a little bit. Maybe like sometime now that you improve from show to show, you realize stuff do work, some don't. But do we really want to go any bigger? I spend there like Eric. I'm there the whole 3.5 day, including set it up together, and I'm there from morning until like the door closed. And I don't want it to be bigger. Like I'm already like hurting enough, and it's taking a while to go around, but just enough to don't get too overwhelming.
I still have not made it to the shows that I've been at. I still cannot say I have walked by every single table, because I'm so busy running around doing everything. There's definitely stuff I didn't see over 4 days. There's still stuff you didn't see. So it's big enough. The second thing is, and we all remember, there was that one Saturday that the place was literally dangerous.
Yeah, you couldn't move. It was like a parking lot.
The fire department, we're lucky the fire department didn't shut the place down and kick people out. So it can't get bigger, and they need to stop putting people in that hallway, or at least just have dealers on one side of the hallway, because that was dangerous. And I'm not Mr. Everything's dangerous and let's make rules. And that ain't me.
You are.
Shut up. It ain't me. And everyone that was there agrees that was a bad situation.
But I will agree. So I was going to make a joke, but I'll pass. There'll be more jokes later. But the one thing I'll say though is that I do think the expo has hit its proper level. I think it's an enormous show. I think it's an enormous show with plenty of foot traffic and plenty of people and plenty of everything that you want. You've got an extensive list of autograph signers. Like, it's not like you're lacking. You've got tons. That's fantastic. Yeah. So I feel like that's enough for us to work with what we've got. We've got a little bit of corporate presence, but it's not like super crazy. So it's like we've got a good mix, I think, of things. And I think it's still possible if you decide and you're committed to traveling the spaces. And now apparently the trade nights are starting to get a little bit of traction. Start slow, but it's happening. So I think that's cool. Not for me necessarily, but I think it's cool that they're doing something with it. So that's fine. And I think it provides something extra for folks that are into that kind of thing to be able to participate in it. So I think that's great. And I think for the space they've got, look, at the end of the day, the International Center has a bunch of halls. If you just wanted to, you could use like 5 or 6 halls if you really wanted to. Like, oh, we got 2,000 tables, 5,000 tables. Like, you could do it if you really wanted to. It'd be insane.
They use 3. 3's not enough.
Yeah, but the point is, Eric, you've got more halls. If you really wanted to screw around and be like, oh, we need, like, dude, that space has a lot of halls. We could keep going if you really wanted to.
I agree with you.
I don't feel it's necessary. I don't feel it's necessary. Yeah, I think it's
sweet
right
spot,
at a good
but they can reorganize maybe some of the layout, which is they did already from the last 2-3 expos. We all agreed, like, none of the setups were the same from the previous show.
Yeah,
so
they keep tweaking it. Like I said, we've talked to Steve Menzie on the show before. Yeah. He continues to tweak and adjust and reevaluate and think about it. And the truth is, if he gets feedback from folks, that gets considered, and more feedback, And every year they add a little wrinkle. They try some stuff. Some stuff gets dropped off, some stuff gets added in, and it continues to evolve and change. I feel like the expo though has built itself a nice little niche in terms of what it does. I think it's going to be interesting though as the expo brand has expanded. That's the reason why I wanted to talk about that Quebec piece. And they've had the Edmonton
shows now.
one, and they're trying to so now it's such.
You
And
got
he also
two
has
Montreal,
ownership
one
in the
Quebec,
Strongsville show. He has ownership
Toronto.
in the Strongsville show as
Yeah.
well,
and Edmonton.
which is a very vintage based US based show.
Calgary. He has got one? Does he have one? He has one in Calgary too.
It's an
No,
Edmonton
Edmonton.
Expo, and does he have a Calgary one as well? He might.
I think
No.
so.
No,
I think he
no,
does.
no,
Yannick.
he doesn't.
I think he does.
Don't make me go down there.
All right, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say throw some more poutine at him.
Like,
Make it happen, man.
I can be there right before morning, wake you up, buddy, and you won't.
All right,
let-
hold on. I got the answers here. Hold on, I got the answers. So 2024 shows here. So this is
Yeah.
from sportscardtoronto.com. We had the Quebec show that we just talked about. In April, we're going to have the next Toronto show, the spring show.
Yep.
Edmonton from May
Edmonton
3 to
show.
5th. Yep, Edmonton
Then
from May 3 to
Montreal.
5th. There's going to be Montreal
Montreal.
in May, then
Then
Montreal
break the summer.
again in October.
Yep.
Then the next
Toronto.
Toronto, then the Fall Expo. Then there'll be the Fall Expo in November 7th to 10th. So those are the 2024 shows.
Oh, to Montreal.
November 7th? That's early. That's
Twice.
like-
I've got May 24th to 26th in Montreal and October 4th to 6th in Montreal.
Let me
damn.
think about this right now. Like,
I hate
in
that.
Canada, in the collectible scene that way, there's so many players. And now you're making 6 shows.
Yeah.
How many tables? The same table, you go from here to there, and all in like within 3 weeks window, especially in May, April.
Yeah, that's
Like so you get more attraction, less attraction. The guy, does he travel all the way around at $5,000+ a weekend for
No.
your table, traveling, hotels? Like,
barely
I don't
gets
know.
time to
We're just
restock.
talking about it. What do you guys think? Like, you know, is
hard
that
to-
enough? Is
hard
that
to
the sweet
restock,
spot?
man. It's always hard to restock in that short period of time.
Like, you sell the corporate boots, that's one thing. That's just like flyers and spin wheels, right? Like, ooh, there's eBay stuff, but as in like far as seller, like how many shows can you even go to as you buy
Lots.
a table and
But you can't. Yeah, setting up. You know, I guess the pickings get a little bit thinner as they're that close together. And
You
I do
can't.
find
Well,
that.
right now, just on paper, if we're talking about what we were discussing there, that is 6 Expo brand shows, 6 total throughout the course of the year.
Plus,
Well, there are 2 months in a year.
like, come
So,
on,
like-
let's just put it at a basic. How much is a table? Let's say we'll make it simple. It's $500 a table for the weekend across the board. So already there, like, you know, depending of level of people you are, corporate, obviously it's in the thousands of dollars, but
Yeah.
but that's just chocolate stick money anyway. So
Well, that's
Sure.
you know, you forget about the local shows that are on all the time. You know, we
Yeah.
have the other show that we go to, Carlos.
but
We
Yeah.
have,
So,
You
Bobby,
keep
I
adding
did
shows.
make a quick reference to this is the last CSC show. I don't think I told you. I'm not sure if I did. So the last show, obviously, we didn't get a chance to chat or see each other. We just missed each other.
Yep.
I know you were headed out. You were having some issues getting back in the parking lot because it was so busy. It got crazy.
Yeah.
But I didn't share the story with you. I shared it with the folks in the chat. I'll quickly
Okay.
share it with you. So it was funny because as you was text messaging me, I was actually coming in on an Uber. So I've got the Uber app now, so I'm using that as my way. It works really well. I've been actually been pretty happy with it. Plus, I'm still getting the discounts occasionally. They'll give me the code for the discounts. I'm like, hey, great. So it's a little cheaper that way. But what's funny is as my Uber was driving into the parking lot, I saw the Burrell in the car going the other way. I actually saw you on your way out as my Uber was coming in. So I literally just missed you by like minutes.
You didn't wave or anything?
I don't think you would have seen me in the Uber, but you were actually, you were literally driving out of the parking lot as I was as the Uber was coming in, and then he put it, and I walked in right after that. But I just laughed because I literally saw you in the car as you were just heading out.
It was just too crazy to park again. I said, forget
Yeah,
it.
it was. I don't blame you. I'll plan it out. I had a couple of things I need to do that morning, but I'll plan it out next time better. But it was busy. It was very busy, and it was busy inside too. It was
Yep.
crazy actually.
Yeah, it was. Then they had that other section there where they had anime and all the other stuff that was, get your picture taken as a elf, girl elf dragon. I don't know. They had all these different things.
There was
like
a lot of stuff going on.
Sense of the hobby over there. A different type of the hobby. It's actually you spend money on yourself than you do on something else you buy for. Well, you can buy swords and all those, magic wands, whatever it is. I don't know.
Which one
But
did
that
you
part
buy?
was very interesting.
Or did you buy both?
Both.
Both a sword and a magic wand, or just a sword? Which one did?
Both.
What did you bought both? Okay.
Right.
Good.
Don't limit yourself, man.
Can't have one
Don't limit
without
yourself.
the other.
I would have bought both. I just didn't know if you cheaped out or not.
No. I went full Excalibur and Tinkerbell.
All right, awesome. That's the way
Dang.
to do it.
Just had to
Amazing.
do it. But yeah, that show was interesting. There was no vintage there whatsoever. It was not to speak of at all. It almost makes me question going to the next show. Usually, every show I've ever went to, I don't think I've ever not bought something. And this show, I did not buy anything. It was for the lack. It was just, it was too kiddish for me. There was so much Pokemon, so many other new gaming stuff, and it was just, just not my game. And justifiably so. I'm a lot older. It's not the hobby that I know. It's a different type of the hobby that has evolved.
Well, the great irony was what I was saying earlier is that I did attend I spent a couple hours there before I was going to head over to watch the Royal Rumble and hang out and do some stuff later on in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But I only ended up buying one card. It was a 53 tops waiting for it. So yeah, so
there was some vintage, but I mean,
so it happened. I struck up a nice conversation with the dealer. We were able to come to a deal that I was satisfied with, and I was happy to add the card to the collection because I'm gonna be working on that set later. So I was like, I'll take that card now. That's fine.
Yeah, that's
in the
good.
case of the Pokemans.
Yeah. Alas, I did not partake in the Pokemans, so that wasn't my game.
Pokemans.
It was a lot of Pokemon there this time.
There's only one Pokemans worth talking about. It's the Cheese Strumon, Eric. It's the Cheese Strumon. It's the only one that's worth discussing.
And they don't even have that yet, so there you go. But
Is it true, Eric pledged to sponsor your podcast like button as well? Yes.
No.
As we talk about the Hall of Fame.
No.
Okay, one of the two.
I will not even acknowledge him. I will not acknowledge that he has a podcast, and I sure the hell will not sponsor anything in regards to supporting it. No, you take that crap down.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Under my name like that.
I don't know what you're talking about. So I'm going to wait for Yannick to come back because there is a question I have for him in relation to this. This is where it's always a little bit interesting. So kind of talking about these expo shows. So bring in the broader topic. It does get to be a little tricky, though. Look, everybody's a little different. So let me approach this topic. Let me present this to you as a topic. We're in an era still, even now, where there are plenty of card shows. There are plenty of card shows, even still.
God. Every weekend here, there is one I could drive to every single weekend, Saturday and Sunday.
Now imagine if you're a Florida man like him. He's got 457 shows every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Literally every corner has a card show. Every corner.
Not one card show. All of them.
And then you add the nostalgia shows in there.
True.
And the other ones that are kind of cross. There's some sports there. There's sports dealers there too. So you do end up at that point. But I think they're finding themselves to be way too commercialized now. We used to go to a show and you'd find something, weird and obscure or crazy or whatever. Now it's all streamlined. I guess that's sort of the new hobby anyways. And, here's your PSA, whatever, or, this is the Young Guns I'm looking for. That's it. Whereas, that oddball kind of weird digging through the pile of something, you find something cool. It's not happening anymore for me. It's actually getting harder and harder now, but that's just the nature of the beast.
Makes sense. I agree.
Just shut up, Josh. Just shut up, Josh. Shut up, Josh.
You have Classic running 5 auctions a year now, where they used to run 2 to maybe 3.
It's volume. There's a lot of volume. So this is kind of the reason why I was asking this question. So it rains card shows, which is right. Paul says, I get why deals want consistency, but if the same shows have the same deals every month, it gets stale. It can't.
It does.
That kind of plays into the area
They don't
that I'm
replenish.
discussing here. Yep. There's a card show every day in Atlanta. Maybe. Fanatics is doing something in my card show February 24th. Bring in an athlete. Ooh, I know. Yannick, I was going to ask you a question. So let me ask Yannick a quick question, and then I'll play into this discussion that I was quickly touching on here.
Fine.
So Yannick, one of the things that I was looking at here is obviously I talked about that show calendar. Now, and part of that show calendar was the 2 visits in Montreal. Now, this is something interesting that I saw here. Montreal is actually Laval. Lies. That's not Montreal. Laval is not Montreal, Yannick.
Oh, as far as much as Mississauga, Scarborough, or Markham,
Tirana.
Trana.
Yeah.
Like what is it now? Like GTA has got a GTA. Like
GTA has become a lot of things. The
Keeps going.
GTA expands every year that goes on. Listen,
Right.
the
Like I
GTA
said, I have family,
now
right?
includes
Toronto.
Massachusetts. The GTA now includes Peabody.
No.
Toronto
Salem.
is the second home a bit to me. I have relatives and family, so I've been going to Toronto since I'm a boy, and like GTA is every time a GTA expands.
No, like I already told you, like I'm not joking. The GTA.
Oh,
now
we're in
includes
Toronto.
Peabody,
You're 45 minutes
Worcestershire,
later. You're still in
Worcestershire.
Toronto.
Yeah.
Doing,
Salem, like all of Massachusetts, the protectorate of Massachusetts is part of the Greater Toronto area.
so,
It's not part of the Greater Toronto
You
area.
get it.
Everything.
Yep.
It keeps expanding as time goes on, continuously. So the reason I was having a little fun with it is that because you've got such a volume of shows. So this plays into the conversation I was having here. Because you've got such a volume of shows, there are people who, like, I appreciate. So since he's here, I'll also touch on it and I'll talk about here. I appreciate that my cam goes to as many shows as he does. I think it's good content for those of us that are interested in seeing, like, hey,
Sure.
show us the shows and
Why
everything.
not?
Eric appreciates it too, secretly in his own way.
Hmm.
But the problem is that in practice, though, we only have so much bandwidth, we have only so much time, we have only so much energy. And
Money.
realistically, most of the shows are not worth attending. It's nice to have variety and options. That's not a bad thing. But it's like at a certain point, it's like, no, you got to make some judgment call. For like I said, for many years, the only shows that I attended were just expos.
Yeah.
I like expanding beyond that. That is nice to have that option beyond that. That's cool.
I like to encourage, like, that being my niche, or I know sometimes like I won't necessarily find anything, but if you don't go, I guess they don't come back, right? At some level.
Mhm.
There's always like levels of shows sometimes that you're like, oh, maybe I won't go this. Like the expo. I know some guys like us will go both. Locals, especially, it's a little easier. For me, it's a little bit of a travel. Eric, it's a little more travel, but at the same time, he's a sook. So
yeah, totally. Without question.
And
I didn't factor that in.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of souk coming from you.
A lot of that. Yep.
So we're at the point of critical mass at this point where we have every possible way to buy stuff, every possible way to sell stuff, and everybody is doing it too. Whereas before there was a fine dividing line between being a dealer or even a flipper. Like, there wasn't that many back in the day, and now we're just all in one. So it seems. So
look, since Guard HQ is open, I can't stop buying. Like I'm buying like out all time, the day and the night.
Yeah.
24/7.
And then I'm almost the one who's gonna buy, but then I ask him like, no, wait, can I see the other one? No, that one. And then,
I found Yannick in my kitchen at 3 a.m. with his phone like this, with the little light coming up on his face. That's all you could see. And he's just hitting buy it now. Buy it now.
Right now.
He's like, my precious.
That's right.
And he's like, buy it now. Buy it now. It's sick. It's sick. The man has a
one guy buys all the time, so you average out. That makes Jeff.
You realize if during that conversation he had just thrown his shoes in the washing machine, you would have accepted him for what he is.
Yes, he would have said, "Welcome to the church."
Yeah, said, one of us. Just say it. Don't lie to me, Eric. I can see through your pathetic lies. I can see right through them. But yes, there's a lot of ways I could say this, and I'm going to refrain. I want my restraint noted. I want my restraint noted.
Okay.
Noted. So anyway, what I was going to get at. So CC here says we have quite a bit of shows now, but do you think we have more shows in the early 90s compared to now? Yes, 100% yes. We had mall shows. We had shows for in the early 90s.
Hotels.
It was
malls.
what Ham's Florida Man situation is today. It was ridiculous. Every 5 seconds there was a card show. It was absurd.
And people hadn't really, popularized their collection at that time. We were all kind of starting again. So it seems like there was some continuing on, but for the most part, we were, I got to chase that set down. And then Beckett would come out, and then you go, I need that set, or I need this thing. And then my book would come out, and they go, I need this knick-knack, I need this trinket. And that's the way it went.
Your book
Like I said, I'm not exaggerating in any way. I remember that early 90s period. And in that early 90s period, of course, you had the Expo, which was there, but you also had the monthly card show of this, the weekly card show of that. They had
there was good stuff there, like honestly.
Yeah, and Bobby would understand some of these references. You had the Cloverdale Mall had some shows in it.
That was the West End, but yes, I did go to it, and
you had those. There was also the other mall that was near Square One. The name escapes me right now, but there was another one right there that had a bunch of mall shows, in that area, because I remember visiting it specifically because it was there. It's so there were a bunch of malls that had mall shows on a consistent basis. You had monthly card shows that a lot of these things would have signers and things.
401. There was
my first Ferguson Jenkins autograph came from one of these monthly Toronto area card shows in the 90s. The point is, there were card shows every 15 seconds, it felt like. And like there were shows all the time.
The lineup was around the corner, even on a small show. Today, there is no line for the most part. There was a lineup, but even at the
I was going to say, now at the CSC show with the cosplayers and all the rest of it, that's a line.
There was a little bit of a line there. Whereas, so it's kind of sort of coming back to that, which is good. But the other smaller shows, there's no line. People wander in at the crack of noon, and it's just like, so there's no first come first serve kind of attitude. It's sort of just I'll see if there's something, if not, no big deal. And then they come with $20 in their pocket and they go, well, I didn't think I'd find anything, so I only brought $20. It's like, okay, whatever that means. Like, and there's no cash machine there, so you have to go to the mall across the street and down.
I only brought $20 because that's all my wife gave me.
That's another reason too, but we'll just go with that's not the reason, but yes, probably.
Good evening, Stuke. Appreciate you hopping in.
Thank you.
Good evening. Small local shows, i.e. malls, are expanding. I have one every week in a 15-mile radius around me. I have no doubt. There's definitely a lot of shows. But like I said, so let me make a statement and then also pose a question. So first, the statement is, I do find, like I said, I find it interesting, the sheer number of shows. I have appreciated going to shows outside of the normal range of shows that I like. Like I said, I've enjoyed that CSC show because it is relatively local to me, which is nice. It has gotten a little crazy. Like that last one was nuts. It really was. Like it was very much a crazy show. But I appreciate the fact they're doing it, and I wish them well. I really do. I wish them the best because I'm supportive of that kind of thing. Exactly. I like though the fact of the possibility of going to some different shows. It is interesting. It opens up my possibilities to some other stuff, and I'll play it by ear and I'll see. So Yannick, maybe I'll talk to you offline. Like I said, I'm looking at some of these things. It's like I wouldn't mind attending a show in Laval. Like I'd have to look at this situation.
It's and it's all gonna be changed as well, because I think CC was asking compared to the Anti-Expo, so obviously I guess he's familiar, or I have no idea really why it was called that way and what was happening before.
I set up
all of this is out there. That name, basically, anyone that was linked to that X show, I guess, is gone, and now it's on to a new management, and that's where the Expo brand branches into. And I think there's local management too, kind of like branches down to that way, because of course, if locally, I guess you'll try to attract the names that people are fetching and looking for there, obviously.
I will say that for a 3-day pass for $25 is a good move. I think that's reasonable. That's not too
Carlos, bad. I got a question for you.
It's very good.
Please, go ahead.
So at the last show, were you looking for yourself, or you're looking to buy something that maybe somebody doesn't realize?
Are you talking about the CSC show?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
The reality
But
is
there
when
is
I
a
go to that
first and a
show,
second there. Yeah, obviously you're looking for, but the likelihood of you
I
finding
think the
Medano is
CSC show
slim.
is one that I generally will look for items that I'll probably flip. That's the more like because it is easier for me to find items in that category.
Sure it is. Yeah.
It's just easier.
Same.
I'll
You're more
quickly read Dan's
familiar
comment
that
here.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, Dan says by the time of Strongsville, I've gone to 400 table shows already this year. There you go.
That's
Thank you, Dan. Yeah,
Where does
but like the
Dan
point
live?
is that we do have a proliferation even now, even in the slowdown. We do have a proliferation of shows. We do. But
Yeah.
the reality is though that I think as long as you understand why you're going to these shows. So let me explain kind of this concept, and I'll read Zach's comment here in a second. So the reason why I'm making this explanation is, for me, it's more than anything taking advantage of the novelty of being able to visit these different things, seeing these different variations. I'm just looking at options right now. The good news for me is that and I've talked about this loosely, and most of the time I don't talk about my work life because that's not really pertinent to the conversation. But it is part of reality is that we all have to judge what we're going to do based on what our budget allows, what our situation is. That's all part of the reality. I've been doing contract work for a while, and I'm still doing contract work now, but I'm right now on a contract that allows me a surplus, which is nice. That's a good thing. But it also means that I have options available to me that were not available to me even a couple of months ago. But I'm still able to visit shows and do things and everything, but I had to be very carefully plan it out. I still do, but I have a little more flexibility. Let's put it that way. Let's just state it in that way. But that means that I look at opportunities potentially. Hey, it'd be kind of cool to visit this kind of show or this kind of show. I'm not going to do both. I'm not going to do all, but I'll pick and choose my spots. Looking at a Strongsville show, that'd be interesting to visit under the right circumstances. That'd be cool.
I think that takes you to a new country, and I think that changes things.
I think that'd be cool. Like I said, the whole thing with the Montreal version of the expo, it'd be interesting just for a change of pace, just because I haven't been down that way. But like I said, I expect that a lot of the stuff I see will be very similar to what I expect. The CSC show, I don't expect to change what I see out there. That's the reason why, to Bobby's question, the answer was I'm predominantly looking for other people. That isn't to say I don't find stuff for myself. Like literally the last show, I bought a PC card for myself. I'm open to it. If I see something that I think is appropriate or worthy, or like, yeah, absolutely, I'd be happy to. But I'm not going in expecting that. I bring my money and I'm like, this money is here just in case I see something that is worthwhile. Most likely it'll be something that I'll line up on eBay or another venue and I'll move it.
The question was to confirm mostly is that most people have become flippers and dealers. We went from an industry of that separation where it was a 90-10. Now it's 50-50 almost. So things have changed. Like the industry has totally changed. And there's a lot of people holding stuff too. If we take all the things that are on eBay, on the dealers' tables and what have you, there's a hell of a lot of shit out there. And a lot of it's overpriced, and they're waiting for the market to adjust and what have you. So it's an interesting perspective looking at it from being in it so long and looking at it today. And then this Hall of Fame thing coming up, it's sort of like, it's just where's it stop? It's I know exactly who they're going to vote. I know where they're going to go with it. It's going to be and everybody's kind of knowing exactly what I would say. It's going to be these new people who started this new hobby, and it's all about them. And Jefferson, who? Yeah. So
makes sense. I agree. Zach here says, had Carlos look at Oklahoma card shows in 91 Beckett. They were having 3 shows on the same weekend on the same day. I can't even imagine. Yeah. I was saying the early 90s was a crazy time. Oklahoma is about as obscure as it gets, and they were having tons of card shows, and it was everywhere at that time. But and I'll touch on it here in a second here. And I only go to shows with significant vintage presence. That's fair. Appreciate that, Dan.
Know where Dan lives.
That's a fair question. That's a fair question. If you want to elaborate, Dan.
Dude, I want to actually ask you guys one thing. Sorry, Carlos. There. Go ahead. But okay. Me lately in the last, I would say, year and a half, the smaller and the more obscure the show is, the more stuff I found. The more
sometimes
the
it
show
can
is linked to, let's say, sports cards and sports cards and sports card. Of course, you go there and it's like, pick and choose. You might strike, but depending of of course, just going to a show, you always have that going for. But Anyway, that's just my input lately. It's the more I kind of like look into little regional, but down, I found more stuff there.
It can be
Interesting to me, as in like too. I know you guys enough that I like to collect the oddballs a little bit and other out in the cellular cards. So that's just me lately. I don't know for you guys, but
Well, what I used to find the best stuff at an antique and small collectible show, that stuff, it was raw. It was really fresh, and you get a great deal because the guy really doesn't know what he has. Those were the best shows. Ancaster, you would go out there, and a few other places that were a little bit remote, but it's a long drive. So,
Yeah.
and it's hit and miss too, but sometimes you really score. And those shows are kind of gone now. So they're so commercialized. It's honestly, it's, you got the pop bottle guys and they're just so professional and everything's priced right to the T. It's sort of like, what are you going for? It's just, you can probably find it online a little cheaper.
I have a small one around here. It's maybe 50, 60 tables. It's a mini mall, one of those little rinky-dinky mall bit. And I always find stuff there. There's always, because it's affordable, like Brad's show in Halifax. At $5 a table or whatever, like ridiculous, and $2 to get in. So that means the ma and pa, whoever, can just empty that closet, go there.
Yes.
Doesn't cost them an arm and a leg. And you get there, and now it's all like, boom, that stuff that never seen the light.
Carlos, do you remember back in the expo? We can just go back maybe even just 10 years, but it's definitely more further. Do you ever remember seeing tables just draped over all weekend where dealers would go in and buy tables it was a regular thing. It happened constantly over time. Like you would go and guy bought this table out, guy bought this table out, and then they just put a big tarp across it. It's like he's not there. And that happened all the time. It happens not at all today. So we're doing some comparison here. Comparison of what it was like and what it is today. And it's definitely a different type of hobby. And not saying it's any better or worse. It's worse for me, but I'm just saying, it's better that more people are involved in it, which is really good. So
I can say for a fact, seeing the same stuff in the same showcase for the last 2-3 shows from the same seller.
Yes.
So
I hate that when I go.
I would, every time I set up, I always had different stuff. If the last stuff didn't sell, that stays okay. I'm going to go with different stuff, and I do mine all the time too. So
one guy for a fact that me and him didn't agree on the difference of about, I think it was $50. And look, I still look at that card 3 shows later for that same price. And just for a point, I'm not paying that $50.
I go and ask him every single month or whatever it is, every show. You ready to sell that to me?
It's nothing too special, but it's a great card. It's a Roy Holiday card. Like, I mean, obviously you don't get many more, but stick with it. I guess keep carrying it around if you want.
But
he'll say yes.
Are people adjusting to the price drop? Well, or are they not? They're not selling. Are they stubborn?
I think some people are. I think some people are. I think the last couple of expo shows that I saw, it felt like some folks got into the process of adjusting. They started tweaking.
It took time.
And now there are some people who are stubborn and they'll continue to struggle and they'll complain. And then it's like, well, you brought this on yourself.
Yes.
You have your style too, Carlos. Remember, like you kind of trade and put in. So basically, what you couldn't get rid of necessarily, you traded to someone that couldn't get rid of what you wanted.
That's a good thing. Yes.
Like you're stuck with your stuff, and all of a sudden, by taking the other person, now all of a sudden, like all that stuff is gone. Someone wants it. But if you keep holding to, oh man, I'm gonna get money from March 2021.
Maybe not.
I think what it comes down to is that I think it's funny because you're taking folks that are not doing it full time and it's not their job. And for some reason, I talk about it here whenever we do one of these things. It was like, I went to the CFC show. I bought that Booby Orr card. I got it at an excellent price. And I knew I had options available to me if I was willing to be patient. If I was impatient, then I would have just...
If you're looking for the quick flip, it's not always the case. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a situation where it was just getting it in front of the right eyeballs. And in that case, it worked out fine for me because I traded it for some wax for something that I wanted to open anyway. So I was able to get that wax cheap, really cheap, actually, given the price of what it was. And then the contents of it, I actually sold for more than what they ended up getting for the card. But even still, they were able to make money on the card, and that's the point.
Yes.
The point is, it was a win-win situation.
Everyone
they were able to
moved
sell
their
the card
stuff.
for a profit on product they were not able to move. I took the product they could not move, and I moved it.
I
That's
think
the
people
point.
have. I think the biggest problem is people don't understand commerce so well. It's very easy, and if you can't sell something, then you trade it to somebody, and you give them the upper hand. So at least you're getting new stock or something different that maybe you can go forward and have your guys that you could sell to, or part of your collection, or whatever you want to do with it. But commerce is so hard because people are stubborn, and it's just like if you sell something, yeah, I've lost on a couple things before, and it kind of bites your ass, but it's never a huge amount. Um, so you take a win and you take that loss and you combine them and you go, I'm still up, like whatever. So do the loss sale and then just make it up with another. I just bought 7 Topps crests. Some guy must have took them off his old coat who worked at Topps, probably from the 60s or 70s. $27. I bought 7 of them. I've sold 4 for $110 each.
It can be done.
Trinkets.
I think what it comes down to is it can be done. I think the more you're involved, the deeper you're into the well of being into the hobby as a revenue stream, it becomes trickier. But that isn't to say it cannot be done. It can always be done, but you have to understand when to try to play further, when to be patient, when to just like cut your losses and just be done with it. Sometimes, look, we tease Brad about the Alec Manoa thing, but unfortunately, that's going to be one it's going to be tough for him
He went
to get
deep
out of that.
on that. He went,
but here's the thing: Brad has done a million transactions over the years,
True.
so he can afford to have a situation wwhere guess what? We'll be able to tease him about it, like deservedly so. We'll have some fun with him about it. But he's also made plenty of shrewd and solid financial decisions in return to his collection over the years. So you're allowed to get one wrong. And if you play the game long enough, you will get one wrong or you'll get a couple wrong. But it's in the aggregate, how did you do? In the totality, how did you do? If overall you did okay, that's fine. You can miss a couple. That's okay. Everybody's got some blind spots. We've all missed.
I know what's coming back. I know what's coming back.
We've all missed a couple, guaranteed. If you've been around, if you've taken enough swings, you've missed a couple. That's just how it works.
I'm just helping people with their collections. That's all.
Yeah, there's always why I think it's a little bit of fun.
You like helping people?
It's stimulating.
I call you. You send me a bill.
Well, you're an asshole though, and we don't like you.
Oh,
so that's a factor. I think that's important.
I didn't factor that in.
Yeah, you got to factor that. It's very important.
That was the asshole tax. All right, I get it.
That's critical. Yeah, that's absolutely critical. Absolutely important.
Your son's waiting at Harvard.
Yeah, Success still waiting for my Edmund Hillary autograph to come back from PSA. So far, Joe Gordon, Harry Hooper, and Bob Ellison all came back from a $30 flea market buy. Nicely done, Stu.
See, those are the fun parts. The flea markets. Those, they closed the Pickering down. It was so good. It had an old section and a new section, and you just walk in and you sometimes find some great stuff that just sitting around. You just kind of say, okay, I'll take a chance on it. Little did you know, you pay $10 and you get like $200 or $300 later. But you have to put the work in. You have to drive there. You have to take the chance. If you don't take the chance, if you don't go to the CSC show, you might not find. The last time I found, look at those autographs, $75, and I think I got like 1,500 out of all of it or something like that. It was just like,
it can work out.
And I took a chance on it.
Yeah, it's luck of the draw.
Yes.
From the bench here, good evening. Appreciate the kind of conversation tonight. Have had you in the background while picking up eBay orders. Hey, do your thing, man. All good. But yeah, so when I was looking at these shows, though, I'll tell you this. It's one of those things where now I'm going to play by ear. I'm going to take a step at a time. We'll see what happens. I wouldn't mind going to 1 or 2 shows, though, related to kind of some of these other places and things. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens because,
like a nostalgia
I go to
show or what?
Well, like I said, I was looking at that Montreal one just because I thought that'd be kind of fun.
Yep.
And then also, I would love to go to the Strongsville show. I would love to go Laval, really, but we don't want to be getting it.
You're a cab drive from where all the good stuff and fun is.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Yeah, look, the point, if I go down that route, like I said, we'll see. I'm gonna play by ear as we go, But if I go down that route, I'm going to reach out to you, and then we'll plot against Eric.
Hell yeah.
And then we'll let him know that we're plotting against him. That'll make it even better.
We'll make Eric come to Montreal. Boston guy in Montreal. That's gonna go
You
well.
guys don't even keep it a secret anymore.
No, like I want you to know that we are plotting against you actively
plot-
at all times.
And
We'll have a FaceTime with Name, and we'll all be sitting there going like, so this is how we fuck over Eric. What do you think? Yeah, that's a good idea.
It works.
That's good.
yeah, spy talk anyway. You won't get it.
I mean, you guys haven't already done this. I think you've been doing it for a couple of years now.
Pretty much.
No, Eric, I gotta be honest. So Yannick, hold on. Eric, look, I'm gonna confess something to you.
Uh-oh.
I have to confess. This is very important that you hear this from me.
That name's behind
Everything that has happened to you to this point
it's name's fault.
has not actually required any planning whatsoever. We've just spontaneously been able to fuck with you up to this point. We haven't
So
even
easy.
organized. We
So
haven't
easy.
even organized yet.
Wait
And
until
we've
we
been
do.
this effective. Imagine if we organize and coordinate our efforts.
I'm going dark. I'm just gonna grab some camping equipment and go hide. in the woods.
You're going white.
We get information
Oh,
from
awesome.
your own home.
I'm going.
Yeah, I was gonna
awesome.
say. Just saying. Up until this point, we haven't even tried, Eric, to organize yet. We haven't even tried. We could, but we haven't even tried.
And
It hasn't
why
been
try if
necessary.
You don't have to.
It hasn't been necessary. Like, it's been so easy up until this point. Like, why? We're on easy mode already. If we put some effort into it, then it would get real interesting. But like, we haven't even had to. Like, it hasn't been necessary at all.
Hey Eric, I ran into Marcel
Where?
at the expo.
Yeah.
Who's at the?
He
He's
told
everywhere.
me like tell Eric hello.
Hello.
Yeah, there you go. Name says, any thoughts, speculation why there has been an expo announced west of Edmonton? That'd be a Steve Menzies
You're
thing.
there.
I actually know why. Because
Do you know why? Go on.
Yes, because there's another local show over there, territory.
That's Boza.
Yeah, there's a Vancouver one, whatever that is. The name escapes me, but there's a Vancouver one.
Yeah,
He's been running
so-
that for a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So that's the main,
Boston.
the only reason why it's not happening.
And
really.
he goes, Bobby, come out. And I'm going, I'm going to fly to Vancouver, very expensive. I'm going to stay in Vancouver, hotel, very expensive, for a weekend of what? It's like a $3,000 social event? I don't know. Just saying. It's like, come out for what? Oh, you can be on a panel or something. I say, really? Okay.
How much is
you
that?
can wear wool and sandals.
True enough. Yeah.
Mm.
I'd
So
have to
what-
file my toenails, but yeah, after the winter. So.
I live there, so
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Nice.
on the island, but
I went to the Edmonton show, the first one. It was interesting because there was a different group of people. It wasn't very busy at that time. That was the very first. I forget what they called it. What they called it back then? The Summit show. It was.
I think it was
it was
something
great.
like that,
Yeah, it was kind of nice. But now it's really advanced to a certain point. It's very professionally done. And not that it wasn't then. It was just they couldn't get the grouping of people. But in the last 5 years, it's just been increasing dramatically.
how big is the Burbank show anyway? Because
Oh, the
I have
Burbank
no
show's
idea.
gigantic.
I heard
Burbank
it.
show's
Huge,
big.
I would
Yeah.
think.
The last couple of shows in particular have gotten increasingly larger and larger. It's pretty nuts.
Yep.
So it's one of those
But
things where
everybody
you have to
needs
look
to
at.
sell their stuff somewhere, and there's a lot of people holding stuff.
That would be. I never been to a card show that you don't necessarily wear a winter jacket,
Spring Expo.
except the Spring Expo. You know what I mean? Like, but I mean,
You had your
Pretty
shorts on.
much.
I saw.
California Expo. That sounds a California
know.
show.
There you go.
Get
That would
the
be
fight
one
with the
I'd like
homeless.
to visit once for sure, just to check it out under the right circumstances. I wouldn't mind if under the right circumstances.
I'm always in
Vegas
for a
show.
sports card show.
Well,
That's
yeah,
if
Bobby,
I'm
Bobby,
right
I don't
there.
need a show to do Vegas.
Vegas.
They'll already have the
Just
show.
double down.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Can they just make Vegas and do like the football thing 2-3 weeks ago when the reporter asked the coach if the weather was going to be an issue, and he looks kind of like it's inside the stadium, like it's controlled. So can we just have the show somewhere that everything is there? Restaurants,
There you go.
hotels, flights, airplanes.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Vegas,
Work
I'm in. I've never been, so how about it?
Atlanta has a good.
Oh,
airport, too.
yeah, and again,
So I heard.
listen.
You want to show me a good time in Vegas, Carlos?
Listen. We there's a lot of places to plot against Eric in Vegas. Is all I'm saying. A lot of places. A lot of places.
Yep.
Definitely not.
Moving
going.
on. I
We
hope
can make
your
a movie
liver's
on
in
that.
shape. I hope your liver's in shape. Moving on.
Mhm.
Stu says last Dallas show, Buddy bought a 51-52 Parky set. RSC. Gordy was a 3-5, so there's hockey there. Not a lot though. All right. Fair enough, Stu. Fair enough. I like this one just randomly. M100 3006. Good evening. Fake Gretzky 101 flawless card on eBay right now with $500 bill. Eric, stop putting flawless fake Gretzky's on eBay.
Please.
People have got to buy them. Why should I stop putting them on there?
Damn it.
Stupid.
Come on, Eric. What are you
Come on.
doing?
Come on. Don't be stupid. If they
Just
got to buy them, I'm going to sell them.
Just saying. But yes, I think it's interesting. I do appreciate that they've got a lot of these shows going on. It's one of those things, though, like I said, for me, looking at it as a consumer perspective, I love the options. It's one of those things where you don't have to go to every show. Nobody does. Like it's completely fine. You can pick and choose. I love, though, going to some of these for variety. I think that's fun. I think that's enjoyable. I think the concept, that's what I said. Like, look, the reason why I threw a couple of those ideas out there is that I would love to go to one of these shows. If I do, I'll have to plan it out a little bit ahead of time. But the good news is I've got some time to think about it. I've got some time to plan it out. And under the right circumstances, I would love to go to a couple of these shows because it'd be fun to have a little variety on the calendar. The expos are a lock for me. I know where I'm going to be. Those are easy. That's 2 times a year. I know exactly. The CSC shows have been a fun variety in it. But some of these other things would be kind of fun to have in there. I wouldn't mind skipping a couple of CSC shows and doing a couple of these instead. Like that Strongsville show, I love some of the vintage component of it. If the right circumstances were, that would be interesting. I think that'd be kind of fun. And like I said, even the Laval Montreal Expo would be fun just for no other reason. Look, I like Montreal. I've been to Montreal. Montreal's a good time. You can have a lot of fun in Montreal. I'm just saying. You can have a lot of enjoyment in Montreal. I've been there and I've been there and I've had fun. Just saying.
Me too.
You was like, parlez-vous anglais? Yes. We. So you do fine. You'll do fine.
A single or
works
a
out
double?
I just looked. We got the Shriners April 26th.
Shriner's been going on longer than almost any other show.
See, it's like that weekend. So 26, 27, 28th.
Amazing.
So there's a place you can come in April and not have to wear. It's like 400 or 500 tables, and you don't have to wear a winter coat.
April when?
Oh God.
In April.
26th, 27th, 28th.
Well, that's the expo weekend.
Yeah.
Well,
see you there.
That is true, actually. Yeah, that's right.
We'll chat you from the expo.
It's always
Yannick, what we should do instead is the week before is Strongsville. So I should go to Strongsville the week before. What's that?
I got another show before that. It's the biggest collectible show in Canada. It's in just outshore in Montreal.
But that's everything, though.
Yeah, it's everything.
Antiques and collectibles. Non-sports.
Body parts.
Beatles stuff.
Yeah.
And
straight from Harvard.
Electrical outlets, extension cords.
Those aren't collectible.
And extension cords. Ooh, fancy.
Antique.
That's a bit fancy.
Yeah.
It's pretty strong. Fair. All right.
Plugging the lights.
Yeah. No, just thought I would broach the topic since I was having some, like I said, I was having some fun looking at the calendar. Going, there's some pretty decent shows. It's not bad. There's some
Montreal, I'm a couple-hour drive. We can easily make it there. So,
yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm thinking about it, Yannick. I'm thinking about it. Like I'm looking at that May, and I'm thinking.
Look,
Yannick, all I'm saying is there's content. All I'm saying is I feel some content.
Carlos, you're an hour flight with points off your credit card.
Oh, hey, there you go. Points.
Yannick, here's the thing, though. If I go to Montreal, if I start off in Montreal, because I know it's in Laval, I understand that. But I'm saying if I go to Montreal proper and stay in Montreal, I can take the Via Rail.
Too.
The Via Rail is actually very chill. I've taken the Via Rail to Montreal. It's actually very chill. It's very comfy. You just sit back, you chill. You got Wi-Fi. You can just be chilling on the way there. It's a nice, comfortable. If you got time, it's a nice, comfortable ride.
Stream live from the train with Carlos.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Get a Dunn's corned beef, wrap it up, bring it with you.
It's not, Bobby. It's not a bad deal. I've been down the Via Rail down Montreal Way. It's solid. It's real solid. It's not bad. Just saying.
Yeah, I'm kind of hungry.
There you go. Love that Gretzky Flawless says 18 pictures listening. There you go. Nice. Zach says, where are those Fanatics card shows that are supposed to revolutionize card shows? Yes, we're still waiting for those. That's true. That is true.
Time's the hobby.
I'm gonna get a hot snack.
Go for it. Stuke says, I've heard Fanatics is going to work with Dallas, Burbank, etc. Yeah, it might make more sense for them to work. Like I said, Fanatics wants to take over everything, but for some stuff, it's baby steps is the best play for them. Because there's no reason for them not to be like, okay, you can partner up. Like right now in California, Burbank has done such a good job building up their brand in such a short period of time with the shows, in addition to the card shop and everything else. Why not just partner up with them? It's not a bad deal. Like they've already built some of the structure, just partner up with them, enhance what they're doing, and then when you're ready to do some shows, you can run some shows elsewhere. It's not a big deal. And down the road, who says you can't buy it out and just own it anyway, outright? Nobody says you can't. Like, look, Rob from Burbank is a businessman. He likes making money. So if you partner up with him, make it big, and then buy him out, I don't think he'll fight you that hard. I don't think he would. I think if there's money in it to be made for him and he can still preserve his brand and do all that good stuff, and like, hey, I don't think he'd fight you that hard. That's just my take on it. Business is business, man. Business is business.
Show me the money.
Whatever you sell.
Yeah, it's how it works. Like at the end of the day, they realized they had a strong enough brand that they could build something out. California, a lot of the West Coast folks are like, oh, why doesn't the National come here? It's like, well, there were some different issues. The reason why they don't do, there is an East Coast bias to the National because a lot of the dealers are East Coast based. They like not having to travel cross country. For them, it's too expensive to pack up showcases worth of crap and cart it across the country. They don't want to. They've had the option. They don't want to.
They should have an East Coast and West Coast National.
You could, like, there's no reason why not. Like, just have that. Makes sense to me. Just be like
half East Coast, West Coast. Just like the old, rap game, East Coast, West Coast.
Ooh, he's going East Coast, West Coast. Yeah,
that's right.
It's like, see a Big E or who are you backing there?
I'm Tupac.
He's backing Tupac. I see. Alas, they're both dead.
I'll take the North. How about that?
Yeah, take the North. That's right. Basically, we're stuck with Drake here. We're stuck with Drake. That's all we got. Yeah, that's right. Big E and Tupac. You got it, Paul. You got it. Exactly. You got it. So I don't know.
Hey, did you guys hear Starstruck back on the subject this week or something? Someone bought it.
Oh, really?
Used to be in memorabilia.
It used to be memorabilia. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm pretty sure that's a dead. In my opinion, that's a dead brand. I really don't see the value in it. Like
I don't see.
It had its moment. It had its moment, but it died pretty bad. It died pretty quick.
It just needs to always be on that peak there. Like everyone was just bored and buying and selling. I did very well though. I sent stuff there.
All right, it's fair.
I was already all out before everything crashed and burned. So
good call. Good call. Feels like Fanatics wants to take over and change everything. Dallas isn't broken. You should see the crowds. Fanatics needs to pay. Keep in mind what's working. Fair. Eric is House of Pain. Ooh, I like the reference.
I think Neil was talking about
jump around.
I am not jumping around anywhere right now.
Come on.
Sit down. Sit down.
That's the
no. You got up. You got up and got down. You just stayed down. The problem is you stayed down.
Yeah.
You just stayed down.
Yeah, it's not jumping around. No.
Nope. Good stuff, Orlando. Appreciate that. Yeah, I think it was 4 collectors. You guys were doing a 4 collectors live stream. Is that right? I think something like that. I saw there was like a 4 collectors live stream tonight, and I was like, come on, guys. Fridays. Hands off. Hands off.
There's enough room for everyone.
Yeah. Look, part of the reason I enjoy making fun of it so much is that I've seen a lot of folks get really up in their feelings about it. It's like, you can't stop anyone. The live streaming is free. and if you've got the streamer, you can do it anytime. Like, who's to stop? Oh, but the should is like, you're not
The Tuesday
required
night
to
is
get
so
anyone else's
October.
permission. There is no own time slot. That isn't how this works.
Now look at Ziggy.
But
Who?
like,
He's
but
on
here's the
every
thing.
time slot.
Look. Speak of Eric's guy from his picture earlier tonight. You know, the only Jeremy Lee that exists. I think once upon a time there was another one. I think he's dead. But the point is, there was another one once upon a time. I think the floating head guy took over after he died. But the point is that I think that other guy, he tried a couple of times on Friday night, and then gave up on that.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't work out. And let me tell you, speaking of innovation, this is Geoff Wilson innovation right here. So he went on Friday nights and had a panel show. Crazy.
That's stupid.
Ooh, innovative.
Did I miss that?
So did everyone else.
You were busy. You were busy. You couldn't watch it.
Oh.
Anybody who would participate,
Thanks, Orlando.
anyone who would participate in or even waste their time watching a panel show on YouTube on a Friday night has serious mental health issues.
That's what this is. In a way.
Got us so much stuff going on Friday night. Woo!
What?
Just like,
Actually, Friday nights are pretty boring otherwise.
well, like I said, that part of the reason Friday nights worked out great is because it was like it's the end of the week. There are people who still work on weekends and stuff, but it's like it's an easy enough time. It's pretty
Fridays and Sundays. Holy shit.
I'm way past the age of like I want to be anywhere outside of my house on Friday night.
Listen, Bobby, I don't regret the Sundays because the Sundays built the foundation that the show lives on today. But I got to be honest, those Monday nights were pain.
This
Pain was
Sunday,
real on Mondays. The pain was real.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a terrible idea, but I'm just saying the Mondays is where it hurt.
we weren't in pandemic anymore much, we're on the way out of there, right?
Yeah.
So Sunday night became hard, like because Mondays were right.
Yeah. It's like, and
I think
especially
you're still doing 6 hours plus then too.
That's the thing. I was running out of
it was brutality. It was heinous. I was like,
6 hours on Sunday. It's
I was
like,
a younger man then. I was young and foolish.
yeah.
To be
That's
never
what's taking a lot out of you.
to never happen again, right?
I listen. I'm still suffering from it to this day.
We
Yeah.
can look
Mistakes
back
were
on
made.
those as the good old days, right?
What was that?
We can always look back on those as the good old days.
We can. It's true.
And
Listen,
you know what?
I stand by everything that was done and said on those shows, but I got to tell you, like it was rough on the Mondays. I remember to turn around. I'm like, "Whoo, man."
Mm-mm.
I was thinking about that last time, kind of what all like linked this group a little bit or branching out from, and that was because of the virtual expo.
Oh, the virtual.
When we were COVID for 2 years, so that virtual expo, when
Which
you were
was-
clicking on these little booth to
Yep.
go and see the store, well, some of them weren't even. They were just hanging out. People were just hanging out.
It was this, and you had to pay for it.
So
Yeah,
that's
you were
how
getting-
kind of all like came together.
There were people that got episodes that I wish could be recorded and replayed because
Yes,
they
there's
were
some good
basically
stuff.
episodes playing out. Yes.
There's
Mhm.
the canned
So-
version of like, hey, there's our show. This is what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Wi-
here's
without
Ham.
the
So
sausage.
Ziggy, Ham mentioned this on the last episode that he was on. He said, Ziggy and he have a show every other Wednesday. Best of luck to you.
Really?
Well, he mentioned it. Yeah. He specifically
All right.
said that Ziggy coaxed him into doing a show. And it's like, I'll say two things. I'll say best of luck to you, and I won't be watching.
What
Best
is
of luck to
it,
you.
Yes.
what is it called and what time do you do it?
Oh,
Now,
please.
it's up to Ham to explain that. He'll have to explain that.
Eric,
So
the
I
sincerity
did
is
want to
so
make
key.
sure I mentioned it because we appreciate Ham. But I'll say it's like,
If I
first of
get a
all, best of
chance-
luck to you, and second,
I
I won't
get
be
a
watching
chance-
1 second of it.
To torture Ham the way he tortures me on a live show, I am getting in that boat.
The boat sinking.
Good for you.
I
Make sure you
need
hit the like
to
button.
know- I need to
And
know
pay for it.
time. I need information. I'm getting
For
in that
sure.
boat. And
Pick up your
Make sure
Beckett.
you bring a bucket
Pick
in
up
that
your
boat.
91 Beckett and get your information there.
and I am going to make sure I do not miss an episode. And I'm going to warm my fingers up for the chat.
They won't read it out like you. You know, Ziggy never stops talking. He doesn't read anybody's things.
They can't read typewriter, Eric.
No, they can't.
It doesn't. What do you mean? It doesn't work?
Well, the problem is by the time
But you can put the phone in it if you want.
but by the time he gets your letter that you hand wrote on the typewriter, by the time he gets the correspondence, it could be like 6 months later.
Yeah.
That pigeon's
maybe
gonna
longer.
fly, man.
I don't send my pigeons out in the wintertime. They get cold. That's a spring through fall thing that they do. I give them the winter off. I send the squirrels in the wintertime.
Interesting. And how's that working out for you?
Slow.
Yeah.
Indeed.
They have
Right.
a house in the street sometimes.
Very slow.
Yeah. So Ham, if you do want to mention some of the particulars, obviously it's every other Wednesday. That's all you said so far. But if you want to mention any of the particulars, I will allow it for one
Watch
round.
the interwebs every other Wednesday. We don't know if it starts this Wednesday or next. We don't know, but just
Wednesday.
watch the interwebs. He'll be there.
I think if you just stare at the YouTube long enough, eventually it'll appear. I think that's how that works.
Just this Wednesday coming up, midnight to midnight. I am going 24 hours straight, watching the YouTubes, just waiting for Ham to show up. If he doesn't show up this Wednesday, then I know it's next Wednesday, and I'm going to do it again.
I think it's a bold move. I think it's it could work.
Yeah. I'm just going to be relaxing.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing something else. It's a Wednesday, so I'll probably be watching
IRP?
I'll probably be watching regular YouTube, and then I'll watch my AEW episode on PVR. That's probably what I'll be doing.
They're coming to town the end of the month. AEW.
Yep, pretty much. Ziggy speaks 95%, Ham speaks 5%. You think Ham gets a whole 5%? Adorable.
I'm not getting information.
Yeah, like, listen, Ham brought it up. And, like,
No!
look, to be clear, this is like the only time I will ever promote anything that Ziggy's remotely involved in. Like, the only time.
He's still not answering the damn. I hate Ham. God, do I hate Ham.
So who's going to talk the most? Boy, that'll be a competition.
It doesn't answer any of my questions. Oh, God. I hate him. I hate him. I hate him.
Yeah, Nick, look, I'm trying here, man. Like, I'm
It's
trying.
the off week that Off Center is not on. So there you go.
Great.
Simple.
One show I don't watch with another show I don't watch. That's fantastic.
You're not.
Is that the show that they all live on each other's show?
Off Center is the one that Dustin does with Neo and with Flipping Steve.
Steve, yeah.
That's the Off Center one, yeah.
Okay.
It's the one that he used to do with the other Brad before Dustin killed him, allegedly.
Cake guy.
Yeah, that one. Like I said, before Dustin brutally murdered him, allegedly.
Why doesn't Cards HQ have a show?
Maybe Brad was going to host it before Dustin killed him, allegedly.
Oh.
He's
It's
in
a
the back
problem. Like a
warehouse.
dead host is not a very good host.
Hey, what happened
Allegedly,
to Big Bri?
again. Allegedly.
What happened
Alleged.
to Big Bri?
What happened to who? Sorry?
Big Bri.
Big Bri. I think Big Bri gave up. I think Big Bri's
so.
ratings weren't what he was hoping for. He didn't get enough
6.
attention.
I clicked 7.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. No. Like he tried. He tried for like a minute. Does Eric like anyone? Not particularly, no.
No.
Not especially, no. Not so much.
Ham still will not answer the question. He's giving me. I got a partial.
Oh.
Still
You got
don't
some kind
know-
of an answer, yeah.
Still don't know. Still don't know what it's actually called. Still don't know what time. Still don't know which off Wednesday it is. Is it this upcoming Wednesday? Do I have to wait 2 more weeks? What do I have? Ham, I hate you. I hope Florida
There you
breaks
go.
off and sinks.
There
See,
you
that's why I'm hungry. Keep on saying ham, and I'm thinking ham and cheese sandwich, nice, lettuce, mayo, extra mayo. So,
go. Extra mayo is important. Yeah.
Everything is good with extra mayo.
yes.
Stop it.
It is.
Carjax Bob Uzo says Carjax should partner with SGC or podcast. Yes, I think they should because then SGC would
should.
have a second episode of the podcast. That's a
great.
fantastic idea. That's a sensational idea, Bob Boozle. A sensational idea.
I think I didn't think of that.
Orlando says Ziggy has so many channels. Listen, if you get
He
one viewer per
does, he
channel
has
and you have millions of channels, then you have millions of viewers. It stands to reason. If you
It's the
just
way you can
expand
get
the number of
millions of
channels,
viewers. That's it.
that's how you do it. You just have to have enough channels
1
so that you
million
actually get
channels.
a lot of viewers. And then you can say, I have 1 million viewers spread out over 1 million channels, but it's still true.
Yep.
But didn't you watch your own episode just a little second? Not
Technicality.
the point. Not the point.
No.
Still true.
Can you do your own like button?
Hell's
Hey,
yes.
I know one person Eric likes.
Hell's yes.
I don't like anyone. You know that.
No, you do. You do.
Sharon.
I witnessed it. You like the Dunkin' Donut lady.
I do.
And you like Marcel allegedly. I hope you like Marcel at this
No,
point.
I
Given the
love
stalking.
I love Marcel. That's different. I love my mother, and I love Marcel. That's it.
And your wife and your daughter.
Wow, Eric. Wow.
That went
Listen,
over.
it's enough that look, your war with your mother is that look, I can understand that at least to a certain degree, but like, do you think it's wise to potentially alienate your wife and your kid?
My kid doesn't live with me anymore. Okay, so I'm
Does
not
she still have
saying-
keys to your house?
She will.
And my wife hasn't made me cookies, and I don't know how long, and my mother has. So I'm
Oh.
staying on the good side of the person who makes cookies. You make
Hey,
me some cookies.
The safe
you
side
eat
of
my
cookies
love,
is right on.
Okay, I'll make some
Mm.
cookies. Mom gets my
Eric.
love.
Eric, do you know what the secret ingredients of your mother's cookie is? That's why.
Don't say it. Don't be gross. You're
It's
gonna
not
say
gross.
the M word.
Mm-mm.
You're gonna say the M word. You're gross.
It's
She
love.
told me, man. And
It's
all
love.
this time, you're all like, "Wow."
Mm. There's some really good comments, so I want to read these. So hang tight for a second.
Go.
God.
Zach says Cars HQ is busy auctioning on base cars and whatnot. Facts. Ham says this is coming Wednesday. It's called Breaking Bad at 9 p.m.
Yes.
He needs to let me control chat. It's basically a yin and yang
Breaking
show.
Bad.
Live the
It's
dream.
so
Very
apropos.
creative. Very creative.
Okay.
Breaking.
Innovative.
I'm glad
Innovative.
the originality hasn't left. I'm glad the originality
Innovative.
hasn't left. Yeah, it's truly innovative.
All right.
And based on hobby definition of innovative, it's there. It arrived.
We actually got answers. All right. It's
Yeah,
this.
we got Breaking Bad 9 p.m. Yeah, we got
Their
that.
name might even come up
9
with the Fanatics
p.m.
Hall of Fame.
Every
thing.
second Wednesday.
Breaking Bad is the name of the show, and it's on Ziggy's channel. But someone said he has 10 channels.
Which one?
So which Ziggy? We have just this one little
This
teeny,
one. It's this one here. This one here.
the
You
card.
buy
hunter.
you need to buy
Yeah.
the Ziggy package.
Yeah, it was the old NFT channel that he renamed after the other channel that he
Oh,
renamed
the
after the other
NFT
channel.
That's it. That's the one.
It was
So
the
I have-
NFT channel, and
so I
it
have
was the
Steve
pops, the final pops also. He did that too. It was the same channel.
Hey, we got to put Gary V on that list too.
Possibly, you never know. Listen,
Yeah.
it works out.
The Hall of Fame list. Every time I say the list, it's just-
Pony.
Stuke's making a valid point. Have to give Eric a piggyback right before election. I think that's fair. Probably true. Has to be a coherent thought for 110 seconds. No dice. My prediction Ziggy will start a blood feud with Ham in the first fight. I
It will
actually
be.
think that. So, for the record, that would be both on brand and sensational that he would start a blood feud with someone he's co-hosting with.
Get 50,000 subs in the first hour.
I quit.
Mm-hmm. You can't quit me. I can't quit you.
I don't know. Look, I'll leave Dustin to summarize that show. I'll leave it to him to summarize it in the second half of his 10-minute ad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, first 5 minutes is ads, second half is the video.
You
And then
squeeze
like
a little
minute
bit of
8 is
information
when he
in
gets
there
to a
somewhere.
point. Minute 8 is like when he gets to a point. Occasionally. Just throwing it out there.
Okay. I actually have the information written down. Fair enough.
Now, are you going to transfer it to a calendar?
How long did it took you to write Wednesday 9 p.m.?
Do you spell Wednesday
strategy.
with a D?
Yeah, I got my book right here to write it in.
Nice. Paul says, my strategy into breaks has been perfected over many years of getting my ass roasted in breaks. Hashtag zigzag. Probably true. Can Ziggy fish? Lord knows. He goes on fishing expeditions regularly. So does that count? Does that count? Don't know.
He tries, but he flounders.
See, I like this idea. Breaking Bad and Off Center should just be reaction shows for each other.
Yes.
That would be sensational. I still wouldn't watch either one of them, but the point is, I think that's a sensational idea.
Last week on
perfect.
Off Center, last week on Breaking Bad.
Now that's an
Yeah, exactly. You could literally just spend the entire episode roasting the other show,
Yes.
and then
Wow.
they would roast you roasting their show.
Yeah. And put everybody on a 5-second time delay. It would be awesome.
Amazing.
Mhm.
Ooh, Orlando's going after the fishing.
Ooh, one Florida guy against another Florida guy.
Florida
against-
man.
talking
Listen,
about
this is
fishing.
about to start the inter-Florida Civil War. This is Florida man versus Florida man on violence.
Dems are fighting words.
Ooh,
Dude.
dang.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Eric, I got to lower the temperature on this just slightly. Just slightly. I got to lower the temperature on this. I'm gonna talk about the cards for a minute. I'm gonna talk some cards for a second, just to lower the temperature on the Florida Civil War going on here.
Okay.
All right. So there are two. I'll actually share a couple of items that I have purchased off of the eBays. First one is actually a lot that made a lot of sense in this. That's what he says now. We'll see. So first one was actually a lot that I purchased off of eBay. So this was a Canadian seller, so I should be getting this one in probably in the next week or two. I wasn't going to buy the lot, but I decided because it made sense for me. So this was actually two parts. So you've got the Solitaire from President's Choice, a game use patch, a nice little game use patch piece. So I like that. That's nice. That's really what I wanted this lot for. The other one is an OPC Premier PSA 10 because Lord knows I needed one of those. Like I need another hole in the head. So that's great. But it's a lot, so I had to take both. So I was like, all right, fine, I'll take the other one. Yeah. So the patch is really the piece that I wanted. It looks like it's a nice patch piece and everything, so I think that's cool. But yeah, so I'll pick that up. So that ended up being about 100 Canadian. So I was like, okay, it's fine. It's mostly I wanted the patch. The PSA 10 OPG Premier runs about $40 US now, so not too bad. So I'll consider it about half price on the patch, which is really what I wanted. I wanted the patch more than anything else, so that was fine. So that was really reasonable. The other one that I picked up here just the other day was one. So this was one that we joked about a lot, and honestly, I still think it's hilarious that it even exists. But I was able to get this cheap enough, so I figured, whatever, what the hell. So Eric, Billy Cilio off in the distance somewhere will appreciate this.
Okay.
I picked up the stupid Rally Towel card.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, this was the Rally Towel.
Oh,
Thingamabobber. Yeah. By the way, I do like I said, I do appreciate they actually put a picture of the stupid Rally Towel on the back.
Oh,
They put a
nice.
picture of the
Cool.
exact towel.
I dig
So
it.
okay, look, it's a Rally Towel, whatever. It's not game used anything really, but
No.
I do
Right.
appreciate that you actually put a picture of the actual thing on the back to represent the thing on the front.
Yeah,
I'll give
like
it to you.
that. It's kind of like
it's
a
a nice card. I like it.
get to fit in with kind of figure out what your piece of the puzzle is on the towel on the back.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you can based on the picture and everything. So I'll give it to you.
It's not a-
Would have been a plain white towel. That would have been meh, but with the little bit of a star there.
Was
that's-
that a 4-color?
Yeah, this was a 2-color. I was able to get, like I said, I was able to get it pretty cheap. I think it was like under $20. So I was like, whatever, fine, $20, sure. So it is out of 50. It's the rally time. So I was like, whatever. I enjoy still adding some pieces. What's funny, we talked about this on that podcast episode a couple weeks ago. I still like adding pieces to the Medano collection, but I'm a lot pickier these days. It's like, it's got to have some novelty or some amusement to it.
Exactly.
Like it's got to be like, all right, look, this is a Rally Towel card. How many other Rally Towel cards do I have in my collection? 0.
None.
So,
Yeah.
so I'm like, all right, fine, I'll give it to you.
I'll be
For the
the only
novelty.
one.
For the novelty of it, I'll give it
I
to
think they sit there and create cards for your collection.
you. Look, at this point, I'm not completely convinced that Billy isn't out there because he'll send me pictures of
He's
shit,
there.
and I'll be
He's
like,
there.
I know what's going on there. I see you. I
He
see
doesn't
you.
have a rally towel. Let's do one. Okay.
That's right. So one of the few things he's missing. That's right. There you go, Orlando. Florida man versus Florida man, or Burrell versus Atlanta.
Ooh.
Will Atlanta start a Southern Expo? Maybe they should.
Oh,
Bobby,
shoot.
if they start a Southern Expo and it's beside the wing place, are you going?
We're gone. We're there.
There. There you go. Bobby on
Why do you
location.
haven't moved that wing place into the card HQ? Wings
That's what he
and
should be
cards.
doing. Exactly.
I think
Got
that's
extra space.
An
match
underground
made in
tunnel
heaven.
to it or something.
you can go through like like you break packs, you go through your cards and you eat wings at the same time.
Yeah.
And your fingers are all messy and you're touching the cards or you
And then you just buy it.
Why do you think there's all those Reggie Lemlins for? Like they're like napkins.
But Kurt's card will have a little place in that
you're dead to
building
me.
too.
You hear
So
me?
can
You hear me?
eat
You
the
dumb
wings.
Frank son of a bitch. You're dead to me.
Everyone's dead to you.
I literally everyone. Yeah.
Him
Literally.
especially.
No,
Oh, especially.
Okay.
Wow. Why did you say so?
I didn't
That
know he was
changes
going to
everything.
take it up. Took it up a
Thank
notch.
goodness. Thank goodness you clarified that. I was getting confused. It's important.
There will be no Reggie blasphemy on this show.
Oh, easy.
Watch out! I'm going to his arena again on Sunday. I'll tell him.
Quit insulting the chat or the audience, booby. That's right. That's right.
I have subscribed to the Card Hunter channel, and I have put
Why? Why?
I have put notifications because I'm going to destroy Ham any way possible.
Oh dear God, really?
I hate this man.
Yannick. I can ask a legitimate question. Yannick, can I ask a legitimate question? At what cost?
Go for it.
At what cost? No, he's saying he's going to destroy Ham. At what cost?
Yep. I'm going to
what
follow him
cost?
through the YouTubes, and I'm going to trail him and attack him anywhere I can find him.
Maybe I want to watch now, like try to see Eric trying to destroy him.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, Yannick. Listen, as the patron saint of like shadiness, as the patron saint of like shot and fraud, as the patron saint of general evil, I'm still not interested.
This Wednesday, I'll get a little ding on my phone saying it's Ham time.
Paul
It's
says
ham
Reggie Lemon
time.
sucks anyway.
Lemon.
That's not nice.
Dang.
That's not nice.
So I think you'll appreciate this one, Yannick. So this one is another one that is en route. So we got to ship my cards order that I have activated. I will be sending that my way now. So hopefully next week.
hope you're okay. Ship my cards. You're good, actually. Sorry. ComC. I got it an email.
ComC's slow right now. Yeah, ComC's slow right now. Ship
With
my
a
cards.
$5 off because we're too slow.
So this one is one that I recently picked up. So this will be a new edition for the 53 Bowman color. So we got the Yogi Berra coming in.
That is a sweet one.
What is that
Yeah,
little tape down the bottom?
So it's got a little tape in the top, a little tape in the bottom. The picture itself is clean, though. That's the important part for me.
Yes.
How does the image look?
Yeah,
The image is nice and clean.
You know, I mean, you got to wish, you know, as collectors that, you know, 9 pocket pages existed back then, because this is how people, you know, collected them. They bought a scrapbook and taped them in there, and because there was nothing else to do, you know, or you stacked them up, threw an elastic around them, and threw them in a shoebox, you know. And those are the people who actually collected cards and didn't just, you know, get them and throw them around and not care, you know, put them in the bike spokes or play, playing that leaning game against the wall with them and trade them. And,
Hey, lots of times you would collect that set of 20 of whatever back in the 30s or 40s to send the set to them so you can get your free pennant or stick or bucket of ice cream or your skates or your so they would literally take the cards and then punch a hole in them and send them back to you.
Yeah.
So that Ship My Cards mail is going to be good for 2 reasons. Number one, it's the Yogi. So thank you, Philly Joe. Appreciate you. The other piece, though, is that there's going to be that one. And then also as part of that same shipment is going to be
There must be some Favre.
Oh, of course. Absolutely. No doubt.
Oh, yeah.
I actually stand my cards this week too at home. It's been a while.
Yeah, so there's that one, and then there is also one more from the 53 Bowman color. And the reason why I was mentioning that is that those 2 cards get me to 50%, 50% plus 1. So just cross over to the other side of the 50% mark on that set. So when those two cards come in, I will officially be past the 50% mark.
Nice.
Yeah,
I get
so we're
more
making some
text on
progress.
this show, and everybody knows I come on a show on Friday nights than I do on a Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday. It's just like, come on.
Oh yeah, like it's like people literally said, look, I joked about it. I had that on the last podcast episode when I was doing it. My family knows that I'm recording the podcast episode on Monday, so of course when it's called, she's gonna call me.
Of course.
Literally, like as we're about to start recording, I'm like, I'm literally doing a podcast episode right now. I'm starting to do one. It's the timing is always perfect. It's always exactly perfect.
The guy
I was
goes,
sitting there like,
"You're missing this on your app," and I went, "No, I'm not." And the guy, "Oh, look at my pickups." Oh, hey Bobby, have you seen this before?
Well,
It's in the app.
Yeah.
Yep.
There was only an app.
If
if it
only.
only was, if such a thing existed, it'd be wonderful.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it'll be the two that'll be coming in is Yogi Berra that I showed and Larry Doby. So those are the two 53 Bowman colors that'll be coming in. So two good solid additions.
Nice.
I've still got a handful of like bigger players left, but a lot of them I think we're definitely on the slippery slope of the other side because a lot of them are not necessarily common, but like more like semi-star type players. I think Billy Martin's like the last bigger name that's left.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's all downhill from there. So looking good. I think we'll be making some good progress in the latter part of this year on that set. Who knows? I'm not saying I'm going to finish the set this year, but I'm actually optimistic because I'm looking at it like, yeah, I could.
Yep. Build it, sell it.
There you go.
Well, you always have to have something to reach for, right? And keep going.
Yeah, I'll when it comes to those late 50s Bowman sets, I hang on to those. Those I'm good with. Yeah,
See,
the
like
same
going to
as the
the
60
national-
Parkhurst. I built that 60 Parkhurst set. I think that's still a fun set. So I was like, so that one I just hang on to. I don't do that many sets anymore. So for me, it's like whatever sets are left, I'll build them and I'll hang on to them.
Yeah, I just get key cards now.
There you go.
I picked up a
Nobody
Bobby
cares.
that I was looking for.
No, I'll be nice and I'll open it up. I actually was going to ask. Part of the reason I was bringing it up is that since we covered a lot of the main topics I wanted to touch on, I was curious if anybody did pick up anything or if there's anything they're looking out for right now or what they're working on hobby project wise.
Yeah.
Open-ended.
That's nice.
Open-ended.
One of the cards I was looking for isn't a hard card to find.
Back in 1
Typically,
second.
go on eBay any day and get it. Could not find it at the expo. Not that I checked every single table and asked every single vendor, but I couldn't find it. It wasn't a major priority. It was grab it if you see it. I got all my priorities, which was great. So I look on eBay and look at them all the time, and they're either overpriced or in bad shape. So I've been, trying to find one that's in good shape at the price I want to pay. So finally, after many, many years of looking, and of course it comes in a freaking brick, I finally picked up the Bobby Orr Dad's Cookies. Like it's a PS7. I only paid like $40 for it.
Nice.
Yeah, you've been working on that one for a little bit. That's good.
Yeah, I just refused to pay $100 for it, and I don't want garbage. So you get one that's all stained or wrinkled or
No, you don't want the stained ones. No.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell do I want that for? So I just waited.
What grade is it?
It's a 7.
Oh, that's pretty good for those.
Yeah.
Very interesting story behind them, but I'm working on it.
It moves around in the holder too much, though. This is like a older PSA label. I have some of the newer ones that they don't move around. Here's a 10 of a Sanderson.
Nice.
It's it's in like a cutout.
Yeah.
And here's a 10 with the Cheevers. So they don't move around, but you can see the difference.
Yeah.
The Orr has a sleeve in it and it floats around.
And it's more transparent.
Yeah, it's the difference between like the baggy, what they call like the baggy,
Yeah.
and like the little versus the translucent one. They modified that over time, and it was weird for a while. They were doing a lot of different variations of it.
So I think I think all you really need is the size of the card, all right, I don't think you need all this plastic on any of them, but this
It's a
one is
little bit
small.
much, but they can't.
Wait, are you saying that we could use Eric? Would you like some more plastic?
No, I want less.
You know, I bet Dr. Jimbo has a company that he started with a grader that could give you like a house-sized piece of plastic to house it.
Yep.
Nope. I want less plastic. I don't need these are this is smaller than those, which is great, but it's still too big. What the hell am I gonna? I don't want this. But the price was what I wanted. The condition is what I wanted. So now I finally can check that ore off the collection because, you know, like I said, it's not super hard to find, but I wanted it at my price and at my condition, and I had to wait, and I found it finally. So I'm happy.
It's an interesting set. I think there's 144 in the set, and I read something in the I did some research and I read in the newspaper that a guy said the manager said you know, we have the mothers complaining because they have to buy 144 boxes of cookies, yeah, to acquire a set. And I'm going, well, that's a lot of cookies to be eating because it was 1 pound boxes as he stated. So
Eric says challenge accepted.
Yeah, damn right.
And then there was supposed to be a chocolate bar that came out called the Hat Trick that never really came to fruition. And then you can see these in cello packs, and they were all sold off to this other company who sold them in sets. It's just like, and we've never found a package. Just that's the stuff that drives me crazy. Maybe I'll just write about it. Actually, I did get a nice writing gig. I got asked by the Hockey Hall of Fame to write an article on the history of hockey cards.
Awesome.
Yep, it's all done. Boom, bought, paid for.
When is that going to be published?
The Hockey Hall of Fame publishes their magazine once a year. It's called Legends, and it's only available at the Hockey Hall of Fame. You know, in their store on your way out. And yeah, that's what they do.
You could send your copy to somebody.
I get 2 copies.
Well, Eric, he could send
send
it to you in Braille, and then you could read it.
Okay.
So that's one option. You could you could feel the words,
but you had to feel them. You had to type it out on the computer and then send it to them. You could send that copy through like an email to someone else, and they could read the article.
Well, they could wait till November when it comes out.
I don't want to wait till November. It's freaking February.
Bobby just sent him the other copy. He goes, the beginning of the article. The hobby started in 2017. The end. Fucking legend.
That's right.
That's it.
Done.
That's it.
That's the article.
Yeah, I love the end of it. It was great. The prologue
Yeah, it was great.
Awesome.
I was moved to tears. It was a tour de force, really. It was a tour de force.
I just want to show you right here. This is how great Bobby is. I paid $40. That's what I wanted to pay. I just get a whole epilogue about how I wanted to wait and get it in the condition I wanted and pay the price I wanted. Blah, blah, blah. I paid $40. Look it up in Bobby's book. How much is that card worth? $40. Bang. Bang.
That's pretty
$40.
But that book is like 9 years old now.
And I got
Inflation's not a thing. Inflation's not real.
Maybe,
well, actually,
maybe if I had an app.
The book goes for $200 now offline. It's like, yeah, why couldn't I get that back? Where's all the boxes that I had left over at, whatever.
I don't know what this one goes for, but I know
200. The other one,
this one goes
that one's
for
gonna be a battle.
Crap load.
I don't know what that would go for if it went on eBay. It'd be crazy.
Is it really 200? Is it really 200?
The other one is 200. This one would probably be 3 or 4.
I get it, but the one he was just showing us
constantly. Yeah. Hey.
Yannick was like, I feel like I just made $200. Let's go. Let's go.
You asked with a little bit too much bated breath on that one. And I'm not kidding you. You put it in the wax pack group, and bam, $200. It'll be gone.
There you go,
Eric. I can't get on Needham. Do you have anything to do with this?
I don't have access to those types of things. Everyone thinks that's real funny.
Yeah, we laugh like that.
Really?
You haven't given the real address.
Eric, do you really feel like someone's laughing at you that way? Do you really?
Oh, here it comes. Go ahead, press the button.
What button?
The like button?
You know the button.
Do I know
His
the button? What?
You know the button.
Eric thinks it's a button.
Panic button?
Yeah.
Look,
Did you
I
know
bet,
that's
I
one
bet
to annoy Eric?
I bet
Press
Eric.
one?
I bet Eric could get this stupid app if
Well, guess what? Because you're poor.
that might have been the problem.
Oh
That
man,
might
I looked away.
That is the problem.
Yeah, that's the
And-
problem.
And the voice doesn't even come out. You have to tap the screen on a phone. You have to
I
tap
missed
the
it.
screen
I'm
to
gonna
hear
have to
that sound.
rewatch it.
Yeah,
You
it's
can't because it was
unfortunate.
by the time you'd reach there, it was gone. So,
Yeah, it was there. It was there. So I listen. I don't know what Eric's talking about. Like he thinks that I've got this control. Again, the same way that he thinks I've got control of the thumbs up thing. I don't have control over that. I can't control it. But
Nope.
he's sitting there like,
That's
oh, he
StreamYard.
thinks it's like we all think it's so funny. We look at Eric and we laugh. And it's like, honestly, I don't know where he gets these ridiculous ideas. It's stupid.
must be somewhere.
I just want you to know that I am being attacked by Michael Ham, and he
By
is
Michael Ham.
sending things like this to me.
I was about to say, I thought he was sending profane things to you. But
Oh no,
yes.
he is making fun of me. He's making
Super
fun of me.
Eric.
He's being mean, and this is why I don't like him. And there's no reason to be bullying people.
And
And
so your plan,
well,
so to be
it's
clear,
your
your plan
plan-
from earlier tonight to counter that
His
is to
next
watch
Wednesday.
his show, which otherwise no one would watch,
I
Yeah.
am going to watch
and basically try to troll him, but by doing so, support him totally.
Yes.
That's your plan.
It's a love-hate kind of thing.
I love to
Interesting.
hate him.
That is a strategy. Yannick, that is a strategy. That
A
is
strategy.
a strategy that exists. Yes. Interesting.
Non-pluralistic at this point.
Mhm. Zach says, I love the back of slide for things like booklets. They're massive. They are. You can have an entire plate on them.
I remember the first time I saw one of those. I could not believe it.
And then you ate dinner on top of it?
You may as
Because
well.
you
It's
could
like a
have,
serving tray.
Because you could have. You could literally put the.
It's a serving tray. It is.
And then put
Yeah,
your coaster on
enormous.
it too. 2 in 1.
It's crazy.
Ham says, picked up a Janet Jameson auto kiss card. How to pass up? Bang, bang. Bobby. Ooh. I appreciate that. That's art, Eric. People play for brilliance. Dang.
That's art. Yeah.
He's now an artiste. He now says he's an artiste.
Something with arse in it.
Got him on the hook.
Just saying. Like,
Uh,
look, the if the shoe fits, man, if the shoe fits.
Mm-hmm.
I don't say it. Interesting, very interesting.
Well,
Well,
gonna
we've learned a
bow
lot
out,
of things
guys.
today.
I'm kind of finished. I'm cool. I'm cold. Those
Mm.
3 little Hershey Kisses chocolates didn't warm me up, so I have to go have 5 more.
Sounds good. There you go. That's the spirit, Bobby. Sounds good, Bobby. Have yourself a good night.
Okay,
We'll talk
guys.
later.
All right,
Take it easy.
Bobby. See you later.
See you guys. Ciao, ciao.
All right. So what's funny was the irony of Bobby doing that is that unless there was something else that people wanted to go into, I was mostly done. So I kind of left it at that. We covered a lot of the ground I wanted to cover, and I touched on a couple of the points that I wanted to make. I'll think about this weekend if I want to make that video, but I laid out a couple of the points that I would make. So now you kind of understand where I'm coming from with it. If I do, you'll kind of know where that's going to go. And I also we got a chance to talk a little bit about the expo there, but Yannick filled us in on that. We had Brad join us a little bit, which is great, to give us a little background on it. We'll get a little more information on the Burbank show later, so we'll definitely get some information from that from him. And then otherwise, though, it's been a good night. We've covered a lot of ground and a lot of different things, and kind of we're in that holding pattern with the hobby, though. I've talked about it the last couple of weeks. There's a lot of stuff. It's like there are products coming out, upper, top series 1. I think like we talked about the design and everything. I think it's a nice enough product. I laughed though because one of the things that people were talking about is like, oh, they printed so much. It's like, yeah, that's not a lot. Not by like really high printing standards. Like I laughed because it's like, yeah, 900,000. Ooh, wow. They made 4,091 Donruss cards.
They didn't shut 89 Upper Deck for like 15 months, 24/7 printer. Like just pouring.
What's funny though is 89 Upper Deck is actually short printed compared to some of those later early 90s. 91 Donruss was between 3 to 4 million per base card. 91 Tops was like 3 million.
I saw a poor gentleman, like I'm sure like Eric says he sees at his shop all the time, like the person that has no idea, but they think because they packed all these 90s bucks away for so long. Or one of this poor fella was right ahead of me there, and he was carrying around that big hockey bag and trying to sell this stuff, and he didn't understand why people were telling him, like, just throw it outside in the bin, sir.
Yeah, we get it all the time, Yannick. I mean,
you should see their face. It's like, holy.
Yeah, full sets. I've had these in the closet for 30 years. Here's a 1990 Pro set, full set. And it's like the dumpster's out back.
Watch for the raccoons.
Oh, they're nasty. They'll get you.
Especially if you throw Pro sets at them.
Yeah, they don't want them either. They throw them back out.
Good. Listen, they're throwing them at you the same way that Yannick and I are going to be throwing American dollar coins at you. It's going to be sensational.
I'll pick them up after, and I'm going right to the bank to exchange them because there's no way I'm carrying those things.
You do a good enough job at throwing enough of them at you, Eric. You're not getting up with your back issues. How are you keep hitting me in the spine? Our aim is fantastic.
On a somewhat serious, because it's not that serious. I don't know if I will be here next Friday or able to do this. My surgery is Thursday. I might be high as a kite on Oxy, or I might be in.
Perfect. That sounds like great.
I was gonna say that's like 5% less mature.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how I'm doing next Friday. I've I've done the show with 103-degree fever. I've done it with COVID. I've done it in a bathroom. I've done it in a bathroom.
You've got a bathroom a couple of times, actually, I think.
Yep. I've done it. I've done it from bed before when I've had back issues and I couldn't get out of bed. So it wouldn't be the first time I do it from bed. So
we believe in you, Eric.
But if I'm not here next week, that's probably why. I'm just not
fair. So worst comes to worst, though, I do think Yannick. Now that he's explained this, I kind of think that if he does come on, I feel like the appropriate thing to do is to invite Bob Lewis. And high as a kite, Eric and Bob Lewis could have. I don't even know what to call it. An off. Once we've done the pour off is what I've coined previously. We've coined the pour off, but this is going to be something else. It's something off. I haven't decided. We'll workshop it. We'll figure out what it's going to be, but it'd be something having a Bob Lewis being Bob Lewis, and then Eric in that state. That would be tremendous. I think that'd be tremendous content.
Bob, Eric, and Chair.
Ooh,
yeah.
Ooh. It writes itself. I don't even have to do that much. It's pretty great. Yannick, that'd be an easy night at the office for me. Like, I don't have to do
all you like. You're the the referee in the middle, right?
Yeah, I just stand here and it's like my job is to count the 3 count. That's all I got to do.
It could be.
Just sit back and wait.
We'll see.
Eric, you seem pretty good right now until then. So I'm sure Carlos is charging you the like button tonight, right?
Oh, no doubt.
Why don't you shut up?
Well, it's kind of my job to remind Carlos. He told me to remind him at the 30-minute mark. So there you go.
Oh God.
And it goes double tonight for every like.
Please make worse his paint. Yeah, I'm in a lot of it actually.
Just throwing it out there, you know how it is. It is what it is. But let's call it a night on that. Had a little bit of fun tonight. Yeah, it's been a good solid episode anyway. Like we have actually covered quite a bit of ground, and we border dangerously close on some end of the year content there. And like I said, now if you find some fine, upstanding citizens with face tattoos and questionableness, those are Jeremy Lee's. Factually, like that is not me making it up. That is me merely stating facts.
Good night, everybody. It was a great show, and we'll see you next time.
Merely stating facts. I'm just stating facts. What do you want from
All
me?
out there, people.
There you go. Can we get a quick graphics check from Eric? Give us a peace sign. There you go. All right, folks. All right. So pleasure chatting out with you as always. Appreciate you. Appreciate the Burrell from the Garage of Knowledge as always. We appreciate Brad joining us briefly from California, from
The
a different
warm
time
coast
zone
of California.
in another country. So that's been good. And Yannick, thank you for joining us and giving us a little bit of a report and popping in.
Thanks
We
for
appreciate
having
you.
me. Always appreciate it.
Have a good night. So those of you in the West Coast, you still got some time left, obviously. It's late in the afternoon for you, so enjoy your dinner, I guess. And those of you in the East Coast, you got a little bit of time left before we turn over the calendar. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We will catch you in the next one.
Goodbye.